We've done 10 of these now. Week 10 of our 13 weeks of Halloween. This is going to be a fun one. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. And have I got guests for you? Who I got here? Come on, round robin that.
What's up, guys? I'm Ken Sledge from Sledgehammer Horror.
And I'm Brandon from I Like Scary, you guys. Happy to be here with Gory and Ken and Maveryk. Excited?
Yeah. And I am the artist formerly known as Maveryk Media, and today I'm Colonel Mav.
Guys, these guys are awesome. Sledgehammer Horror, he and his wife Ash have an awesome channel, tons of awesome interviews, tons of awesome horror content. He loves Halloween 3, so he's going to be awesome here tonight. My buddy, I Like Scary, Brandon, as you can see by his background, he is Halloween obsessed. He loves this movie. We love him. He has amazing content. Also, you may not have heard of a newer creator. It's like a fresh young thing. Only the really cool YouTubers know about it. No big deal. But Maveryk Media, he's kind of amazing, and he has lots of great content, news, reviews, all that stuff over on his channel. There are links in the description below. You're going to want to subscribe because they're amazing, and I'm subscribed, and you just want to be just like me. So, what's going on today? So we're going to start first. A little bit of bad news. Mummy B movie is unfortunately in the hospital right now. She had a bad fall and she's getting some tests done. But this is her favorite show and she wanted to stream tonight. And what Mommy B movie wants, Mommy B movie gets. So we're going to need a big gory bee, gory hole, Care Bear stare. You're going to have to lift those shirts up above the belly button or it does not work unless you're me, which in case I can do it through clothing because I've done it for so many years. And then point it kind of in the Pacific Northwest region and just aim all of that good healing energy towards Mummy B movie. She is the biggest promoter, thank you, and producer of the show. Not only does she support the show on Patreon and by watching every stream and video, but she made me. So that's like executive producer. Anyway, we love you, Mommy B movie, and like every show on this channel, this one's dedicated to you. We love you. Hope you feel better.
Nothing more special than your mother. So
yes,
totally
absolutely.
Agree.
Yep.
I'm very lucky that my mummy is my biggest fan. What is going on with my bangs today? You know what? That's a question for another day. Just like this movie, it is an enigma wrapped in a taco of mystery. That's the review. Okay, guys. So this one is
We're all night. Have a good night.
This one, this was actually outside of the ones that have come out at cinemas recently. This was the last one that I discovered on my own through like not even VHS. I'm so embarrassed. I actually watched this one for the first time in the last 10 years. So I grew up, and back when I was a kid, There wasn't streaming services, okay, guys? If I want to see a movie, I gotta get my own damn babysitting money, march my sorry butt down to Blockbuster, and I gotta rent it, okay? So I'm not gonna go renting stuff that I'm not sure about. And everyone told me that this one doesn't have Michael Myers. It's really weird. Doesn't even have a witch in it, which is wrong. And that it sucks. So I didn't see this one until Danny and I had been together for a few years. And he's like, "You've never seen Halloween 3?" And I'm like, "Yeah, because it sucks, right?" He's like, "No, it's actually pretty good." And you know what? Truth be told, it's a great film. So you guys tell me how you got into Halloween 3, your initial reactions, and how you've grown to become a fan of it.
I went first last time.
All right, I'll go. So Halloween 3, fun fact, I didn't like it in the beginning. It didn't have Michael Myers. I just didn't enjoy it. But sometimes they showed it, on AMC Fear Fest. So I used to just, it was in rotation sometimes, so I'll just watch it. And then the more I watched it, it grew on me. I loved the set of 3 of the masks, Tom Atkins. And I loved it for it being different, a standalone film. And, everything that came with it. And it grows on me each and every time I see it more and more. So it's one of those movies that has layers. You got to kind of watch it numerous of times to love it. So AMC Fear Fest for me is how I came across it as a kid.
Yep. Yeah, I was gonna say up until Gore, you kind of filled us in on your background with it. I saw it the first time when I was a kid, and I like Scary. I did not like it. There was a reason the guy who introduced me to all the Halloween movies didn't have Halloween 3 on VHS, which Brandon, I told you once upon a time, I got this sealed. It's a sealed copy of
That's beautiful.
So I have everything up to Resurrection on VHS sealed. So
that is crazy.
But I love it. And there was a reason why he didn't have it. And he told me, skip it. Halloween 3 sucks, the whole Michael Myers not in it. But I eventually got around to watching it when I was a kid, and I hated it. I was like, he was right. This sucked. It was in my late teens, early 20s. I can't remember when, but I came across it on Fear Fest, and it wasn't from the start. I kind of just put on AMC. It was around October, and I started watching a movie that I was like, oh, damn, you know what? This is interesting. Like it had me hooked. It wasn't until I started seeing the masks, because it was kind of in that middle point where there's not really the masks and all that stuff, but the music and everything. And it was intriguing. It was engaging. And once I saw the mask, I was like, oh my God, this was the movie I wrote off, 10 plus years ago. And that's when I realized, well, I guess when you're watching it with a kid's brain and you're expecting Michael Myers and all that stuff, like, it wasn't until my frontal lobe, I guess, fully developed that I was able to.
You need a full frontal lobe to get this.
Exactly. I wasn't able to appreciate this movie for what it is, and I love it. It's up there in my top of the list. So
yeah, that should have been one of the quotes on the poster. Like 2 thumbs up. You need a full frontal lobe. Like, it should have been
I need a shirt that says that. I need a shirt that says that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm kind of the odd one out here because I was never a huge Halloween fan in general. And so at a young age, I had people tell me, oh, this is the one that doesn't even have Michael Myers. And I was like, well, I'm not a huge fan of the ones that do. So yeah, I'm out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got mad at that person the first time I watched it. And I remember calling Justin, dude, you suck. Like, everything about you and your life, even your great great grandpa, he probably sucked. Like, everything about you is stupid. Because this movie's great. I just think that the originality that it comes with it, and the only reason this movie got such a bad rep, in my opinion, is because it's Halloween 3 and not Halloween 2. If this would have been Halloween 2 and we would not have had the expectation of having Michael back, if they would have continued to do the anthology like they were gonna, like Halloween 2, Season of the Witch, Halloween 3, Doofy in the toilet, I don't know, whatever they went with next, I think that the anthology would have continued, but having Halloween 2 go back to Michael Myers is really what hurt this film. But
if American Horror Story did Murder House 2 seasons in a row and then did something else, you'd be like, what the fuck is going on here?
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
that's a good point.
It's a huge bummer to me because I feel like a lot of people hate this movie having never seen this movie just because they know, oh, that's the one without Michael Myers in it. So they either A, don't give it a chance, or B, are just like, yeah, I don't like that movie. And they've never even seen it. They just know it's the one without Michael Myers. And that's unfortunate because the acting is fun. I'm not gonna say it's great, but the acting's fun. And there's just so much about this story that I think is so dope and so original. Everything from, you know, taking the stone from Stonehenge to watching everything play out. And I could do without a lot of the geriatric lovemaking scenes, but
we have so much to talk about. Yes. One of my complaints, you mentioned Stonehenge, my only complaint is this was ripe for an amazing rock soundtrack. Where was Stonehenge? Season of the Witch by Donovan. Like you could have made this crazy with the soundtrack. But, you know, whatever, it's fine. I love it.
Well, instead we got 45 minutes of happy Halloween. So.
Oh Jesus! Like you can never get that song out of your head ever. It's in there forever. Have a happy. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yikes. But yeah, what's cool about this movie is it's kind of getting a reevaluation, which is nice. A lot of people are coming around to it. A lot of people are appreciating it more. I think another problem with when this movie came out is we didn't have like the internet or anything where people would have been talking for months. Hey, I don't think this one's going to have Michael Myers in it. There's this theory going around. There was none of that. There was a trailer that was really, really mysterious. Didn't show Michael Myers. We didn't show a whole lot else either. So nobody had any idea when they threw their money down that they were not getting Michael Myers. I think in the advertising, if they had made it very clear that this is a different thing, even with the title, something to tell you that it's something different, I don't think people would have been as pissed off. But I think people don't like to feel like they've gotten a bait and switch. Like you got me here because of Michael Myers and you're not giving it to me. You know, nobody was told up front what this was going to be.
It's almost like they're still doing that today.
Yeah.
You took the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah.
If you guys are talking about Halloween Ends, I actually really like that. We're going to talk about that in a couple weeks here.
I've changed my name to Ken Cunningham, so we're just going to roll with that.
I can dig it. Kenny Cunningham.
I've been taking moped rides with Ashley on the back and a Michael mask, so it's been a lot of fun.
Score, dude. Score. All right, so as we do here, a little bit of background on the movie. John Carpenter, they wanted him back because, you know, Halloween made a lot of money. And Mustafa Akkad is like, I like money. He's kind of like, he's so lovable. He's like Mr. Krabs. He's the Mr. Krabs of Halloween. Bless his heart. Rest in peace. So he wants John Carpenter and Deborah Hill back. He's like, yeah, I creatively have nothing more to say about Michael Myers. I blew the man up. If it's not Michael Myers, sure, I'll do another one. But otherwise, I'm just not interested in this at all. And even then, he didn't want to direct it or write it or anything. So initially, he got Joe Dante, you know, best known for Gremlins, to do it.
Gremlins.
But this thing took a long time to get off the ground. And he was just like, bitches, I got shit to do. But he did get them in touch with Nigel Neal, who is a really famous British novelist who did the Quatermass novels, what became movies that John Carpenter's a big fan of. And he wrote the script, but the script was more like a BBC TV movie. It didn't have a lot of gory kills and stuff in it. So Dino De Laurentiis was the executive producer who, a lot of people in this movie, he's removed his name from the credits. He's like, yeah, I'm going to need some more blood in this thing. So John Carpenter did a pass rewrite on it, but also wanted his name taken off of it because he wasn't a fan of it. And then Tommy Lee Wallace did. So Tommy Lee Wallace is the only credited writer, but he says about 60% of this is Neil's work. And the initial idea came, it's largely credited to Deborah Hill, who was saying that she wanted to do essentially science meets witchcraft. So, and I think that's a really cool original idea. We don't see a lot of religion meets science type stuff. I mean, Buffy did it, season 4, and John Carpenter explored it again in Prince of Darkness. But we don't see that a lot. I think it's a really interesting idea.
Yeah. There was a Hellraiser movie that kind of did that, and I'm drawing a blank on. Yeah,
Bloodline.
Bloodline. There you go. Yeah, they did kind of that. Computer religion witchcraft stuff, but yeah, other than that, I'm drawing a blank on any others.
But yeah, I think it's a really cool original idea. Tommy Lee Wallace, he was the production assistant, and he did a lot of things. He did a lot of things in Halloween because Halloween was a low budget production, and when you make a low budget movie, everybody has to do a lot more than their title job. But yeah, like he designed the mask, like he did so much great stuff. This was his first directing role, and I think he did a great job. He's gone on to do some of my favorite movies like Fright Night 2, another underrated gem. I think he's really skilled. I think he did some good stuff here with the writing. He was largely inspired by Invasion of the Body Snatchers, and you can see that in this. He said it's not a knife movie, it's a pod movie. So, yeah, what do you guys think about like allusions to Invasion of the Body Snatchers?
I can see it.
Yeah,
I can see it, especially with a lot of the cinematography, a lot of the zooms, a lot of stuff like that. You can see definitely a huge influence of that.
Right.
And just the whole, you even have a body snatcher angle in Halloween 3. You know, was she an android the whole time? Did they snatch her up? And, you know, so I mean, I could definitely see that being something that's as an influence. And I think that's great.
Right.
I love when artists do stuff like that and then they attribute, you know, Jimmy Page from Led Zeppelin always said, good artists write music, great artists steal music. And that's something that I've always, you know, with everything I've done in my life, whether it's music or film or anything, like it's something I've always stood by. Like, wear your influences on your sleeve. Let people know your influences, because without them, you probably wouldn't be where you are right now anyway. So that's just a quote that's always stuck with me. And to hear you say that, like, I've never really put those pieces together, but the minute you said it, it's something that I feel like I've known my whole life. Like, it just snapped so quickly when you just said that. So that makes a world of sense.
Right.
Yeah, well, even that last line, like the original movie where the lead character, who's the actor, I can't remember his name right now, but he looks into the camera and he's basically like, they're out there. They're, you know, the pod people are out there. It's so
Donald
much like
Sutherland.
that. Well, that too. And then also when Tom Atkins looks directly at the camera, you know, so there's a lot of things in there where you can tell he was definitely inspired by, you know, actually I think both Invasion of the Body Snatchers movies, which I love pod people. We need to do more pod people on this channel. Why don't we do enough pod people?
Yeah.
Honestly, the biggest complaint with this channel is that there's not enough pod people.
The town was named after the town in
Santa Mira, yes.
Snatchers. Yep, Santa Mira. So that was another parallel. There was a few, like Ken was saying, the you know, the co-lead being the robot, you know, and him not knowing until later. That reveal was another one. And then, like you said, the warning at the very end, you know, that was, so there were a lot of some nice nods to that movie, for sure.
I think one of the things that we fans, especially modern day fans, where we're allowed to be nerdy, unlike our parents' generation, and we're allowed to just have a room full of toys. Case in point. One of the things we love about this movie are the masks. So they're kind of like the pails you get at McDonald's. You get your witch, you got your skeleton, and you got your jack-o'-lantern. And these masks were made by Don Post. He actually kind of revamped his witch and his skeleton for the movie. And then Tommy Lee Wallace wanted one made specially for the film. And that was where we got the jack-o'-lantern. And like, honestly, some people like to shit on these masks because, you know, everyone's wearing the same ones, but these are quality masks. When I was a kid, this is what you got. You got a plastic mask what Tom Atkins gets his kids, and you got a smock that had the picture on it. There's a girl in this movie who's wearing a Casper costume with her silver shamrock mask, and that was my first costume. So, like, these are fancy masks. And the other thing I hear as far as complaints go, that they find it hard to believe that every kid would want the same one. Especially in the 80s and 90s when things were marketed so much towards children. That was how it was. You didn't give a crap that you had the same No Fear t-shirt that 40 other kids in your class had, or the same body glove shirt, or the same pair of LA Gears. You wanted those because that was a status symbol. Everybody it's one of those. And even today, I think there are things like that where you don't care that you have the exact same iPhone as everybody else. It's a status thing. If you don't have that, then you're not cool or you're not good enough. So if Silver Shamrock is being marketed as the pinnacle of awesome Halloween stuff, then yeah, every kid's going to get it. And this movie is so much thematically about like how marketing applies to children and how they are like victims to this.
It's funny because you talk about that. Like, go out on Halloween or go to a adult Halloween party this year and tell me how many Eddies from Stranger Things you see.
Stranger Things,
Like,
yeah.
it's
A lot
still
of
like that
Eddies, a lot of
today.
Scarlet Witches, and it's true. How many Harley Quinns have you guys seen in the last 5 years?
Yeah,
Exactly.
It's
So I mean, it's like, you know, and you're talking about like, you know, us as adults, unlike our parents, like we get to have our toys out. Like my mom had to hide her toys in a drawer. So I mean, like, I get the whole like how different our generations are now. And one huge thing about this movie that I think often gets understated, like, I'm not trying to like, you know, pimp my channel right now, but
pimp away. It is pimpable. It gets the pimpable seal of approval.
We recently did a didn't see that coming episode, which is where we dissect the movie with a twist ending on Season of the Witch. And it's my favorite episode we've ever done. Ashley absolutely killed it with the writing. And they could have called this movie Season of the Title Card. There's like 18 title cards.
There are, yes.
Throughout this movie. And like we actually do a counter on that episode of how many different title cards you see throughout the movie. And
no, I think that it is necessary because we cut to like there's one scene where he's in a bar right after he's in the hospital. And if there wasn't a title card, I would have assumed he went right to the bar. But we need the title cards to tell us that days are passing here.
That scene you're talking about, there's 3 title cards within a minute and a half.
Yes.
In that area.
Yeah.
And it's like, to me, look, I love this movie. Obviously, look, I love this movie. But to me, that's super lazy writing. And something I've always thought was really funny is like when they put him in the room and they tie him up and they're making him watch Halloween on TV, ready for the mask. I'm like, that would literally be my torture. Like, Ken, we're going to put you in a room and we're going to play Halloween 78 on repeat. And I'm going to be like, no, please. Can't you just take one of my kids? But like, yeah, no, it's just amazing to go back and watch this and see the subtle nods that they still did to Michael. You know, like, it's still cool to me that they still show that he exists in this universe. So I thought that was really cool that they still did pay homage to Michael in this movie, even though they were trying to push away from that. They still were like, we know why we're here. You know, we know where our money comes from. So, you know, he's watching it in the bar. You know,
he built the house that Halloween Season of Witch is having a party in.
Yep.
You know, like they call New Line the house that Freddy built. This franchise is built on Michael Myers.
Yeah.
You know, more so than even like I think some franchises are built like Alien. It's built on Ripley. It's built on the hero. But this franchise is about Michael Myers. That's what people want. That's what people complain about when it's not done right.
I think this is one of the few franchises.
I see Brandon. He's like, yeah, I know
it. I think this is one of the few where you're actually built on the protagonist and the antagonist, you know, because, you know, Laurie Strode, you know, she's probably the most infamous final girl. I don't think she's, you know, the original. I'm still going to go with Jess.
Or the best. I'm going to argue that when we get to 78.
Yeah, I still.
Brandon, look at your face. You're just like, Lori. I love her.
Oh, man,
I love Lori too. I just don't. I think I love her so much because she is too precious for this damn world, and she doesn't want to be a killer. And that's why as soon as she gets a knife, she throws it away. She's like, "Fuck that shit, I'm out." Because she is just a precious young thing, and she eventually becomes a final girl in those 2018 ones. But she's not like Sidney Prescott, where she's like, "Oh, you came here to fight? Oh, let's fight."
Yeah.
When you've died
argument for
3 times in your own franchise, you can't be the final girl. Okay. I don't care how many times you kill Laurie and she's come back more than Michael has. So, like, you know, like that to me is just like, you know, I think that Olivia Hussey in Black Christmas is my favorite and the OG, but everybody that talks about Halloween, you're either going to talk about Laurie or Michael. You know, when you talk about Friday, you talk about Jason. When you talk about Nightmare,
or Jamie Lloyd.
Yeah.
Harris. Very true. But I just mean like normies.
I feel like you know when you go to the bathroom and you ask your girlfriend to hold your purse for you, that's kind of what Jamie Lloyd did for Jamie Lee Curtis for like those 3 movies. Like, sure, I got it.
No one holds my purse for me.
I know.
I take my purse everywhere.
I haven't checked in the chat. Sorry to neglect you guys. But yeah, awesome people here today. Nathan Mills, Jason Rushman. Tatum Dawn. Hey, what? Maveryk Media. See, I'm telling you guys, there's a whole Tyler Durden situation going on here with Maveryk. I've been saying this for a long ass time.
You never
Kevin
know.
from Haunted by Horror. Mummy B Movie. Best person ever. Hey, John.
John?
My buddy Rich, the movie Massacre. My youngest brother Devin. Cheyenne. Yeah, I'm so lucky. My family actually watches my stuff, which is really cool.
My family doesn't even know that I exist, let alone my family.
My mom does not miss a stream. Ben Grimm, Fairpoint Station. We got Robin in the house. Child of the Corn, just one child, not a whole mess of children. Fairpoint Station. Yeah, guys. Sledgehammer Horror. What the hell's going on there? Craving something scary. And there's a night bot in here that was being kind of a dick to you. I'm so sorry about that. I don't know what that is. That's a bot, but it's got attitude. And Mr. Flickster. So, awesome. So good to see all of you here today. You know, you guys make the gory hole squishy. That's why I love you. So I'm really happy you're all here. And we're all here together. Pretty nice and warm here. Happy. Warm feelings all around. This is getting awkward. Let's talk about the cast. Let's talk about that cast. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to shift gears. Hey, James, what's up? Shifting gears because I think we can talk about the cast as we kind of talk about the movie. Because on this channel, you know, we're going to like walk you through the experience of watching this movie, which is a good experience. Like you should sit down, you should get a drink and get comfy because it's just that kind of movie. It's a cozy Halloween movie is what I think. Yes. Cozy Halloween movie, all of the Halloween atmosphere, arguably the most Halloween of any Halloween movie, if you ask me.
Between this and 5, I would absolutely agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely agree.
And it all starts with the clip I'm going to show you guys now, the opening. Like, you know, right from that opening, that this is going to be spooky. This is going to be mysterious. Like, you don't know who's in the car. It's got kind of, you know, even though Christine hadn't come out yet, it's got like kind of Christine vibes. You know, something crazy is going on. And for me, I think that tells you right away that this isn't a Michael Myers thing. Well, I mean, he can drive, but like, that's just not how he does things. Right, Brandon?
Yeah.
It's not how he does it. It's not.
This movie definitely starts with action, so you know it's not a Michael Myers film.
I mean, Michael, he has drove. He has drove. But Cam, man, I've seen that, man.
He's also a terrible driver.
Yeah.
I mean, like the driving in this is pretty good. I mean, in fairness, Dick Warlock did most of the driving. Who was Michael Myers in Halloween 2? That's something about this movie. A lot of the production crew from Halloween 2 came over onto this one. Not a lot of the same cast, though we do have a lot of cameos in this one. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the cast kind of as we get to them in the movie. So I'll use that as my structure. But I love that right away, you do not have to waste any time. Right away, we get a kill in this movie. And again, if after that first 5 minutes, you have not figured out that this isn't a Michael Myers movie, you're not paying attention. This is so bizarre. One of my favorite kills. Brandon, I think you know what we're going to look at, right?
Yeah. I want to say
the calmest anyone will ever be while getting hit by a car.
Yeah.
So this poor guy, he runs into a junkyard and he has enough state of mind to pull this crank thing to release this car and get his attacker. So you guys got to check this out.
It was so slow, man. Like he was just looking at his death.
Every time I see that clip, I see Austin Powers when the guy's standing there like, no!
Stop it.
It's like, that's all I see. That whole
Exactly.
Slow,
I think, did you guys, how quickly did you guys, I mean, obviously spoilers for the movie, guys, but how quickly did you guys figure out they're fucking robots?
It was just something weird about him when you seen him. You knew it was something going on.
Yeah.
And we get that huge reveal, like, oh my.
Right.
Yeah.
I think once you got the reveal,
he pulled it out. When he pulled his stuff out, I was like, oh, they're robots. Oh no, that makes sense.
What I think is funny is we have a scene later on that I think is really cute where Cochran, who we'll talk more about him as we get into it, but Cochran is kind of talking about how he's made them so realistic, you know, because one of them sneezes, but it's like, bitch, why didn't you make them blink?
right.
Make them blink. They're freaking me out here.
To be honest, though, if
Originally,
you can
Tommy
make
Lee
them
Wallace
sneeze
wanted
without
all of the
blinking,
robots
that's
to be
pretty dope.
gingers.
Yes,
they're Irish.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ginger army, but they couldn't find any gingers. There was like a ginger strike going on at the time.
Wow.
They were all trying to get the role of Chucky.
If they,
Hey.
no one can get the role of Chucky. The role of Chucky is it's beyond their reach. Love Chucky. All right, so now we're gonna get into the man of the hour. Who is the man of the hour?
Tom Atkins.
Tom Atkins.
Tom motherfucking
Shouts.
Atkins. That is legit his middle name. Look it up. Don't look it up because it's not true. Anyway, he's amazing. I think my favorite Tom Atkins role ever is Night of the Creeps. I love that thrill me shit. But I mean, he is in a lot of Carpenter movies. He's in The Fog. He's in Escape from New York. He is a legend. I think horror fans, hold him near and dear to their hearts. He's just a sweet guy. I love that he embraces horror. Not everybody who's in horror movies actually watches horror movies or enjoys them. They like acting, and fair enough, but he actually said, once that if he had nothing but horror films for his whole career, he would love it. He was so excited to do this because it was a lead part in a movie. And Deborah Hill was the one who really kind of pushed for him because she didn't want this to be like some pretty boy guy, some young pretty boy guy, which works. I like the Blob remake. Everyone loves themselves a pretty boy, right? But sometimes you need a man. You need a man who's rugged and manly and has that, like he's got, as you mentioned Austin's Powers earlier, he's got mojo, guys. He's got mojo.
But just imagine going into that audition and you walk in and they're like, we're not looking for someone pretty. You're going to fit this bill great, Tom.
Right? The
You're
ultimate
just what we were
backhand.
looking for.
Yeah.
You nailed it.
Backhanded compliment for sure.
Ouch. Well, none of you guys could have been in this movie because y'all too pretty.
Oh yeah.
Especially you, Maverick.
Dory.
Your skin is like porcelain. Like,
Yeah.
we need to talk. We need to talk lotion.
I treat it 3 times a day.
Love it. Fun fact on how Tom Atkins actually met John Carpenter. For the premiere of Halloween 1, Tom Atkins's wife, who's in this movie, she has a small part in this movie, and I cannot wait to talk to you guys about that. She's actually friends with Adrienne Barbeau, who at the time of Halloween 78 was John Carpenter's wife, and she invited them to kind of double date with them to the premiere. And so she actually got the part in this because, she's friends with them, but then they're also like, Tom Atkins, he's amazing. So, it's so funny that you mentioned the relationship between Ellie and Tom because he is over twice her age, which is gross. It's the one thing I really don't care for in this movie. It's gross. I get that they wanted an older guy, but, get an older woman too. They do that in so many movies, and it's so frustrating for women because, like, we'll have Tom Cruise, who's allowed to still be an actor and stuff in his 60s, but they still get Jennifer Connelly, who's a good 10 years younger than him. And it tells women that men are allowed to age, but women aren't. That to be the love interest in one of these movies, you need to be at least 10 years younger or you're just not going to fit the part. And I think that's really frustrating. No shame against the gal who played Ellie. She's wonderful, but it would have been nice to see, why not Adrienne Barbeau? Why not somebody a little bit older?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm sure Tom Atkins didn't complain when he was getting breastfed for 45 minutes in the motel.
And that was the first thing they did, too, which was incredibly awkward for him. First thing they had to do,
nice
they
to meet you.
just
Can I see
met.
your boobs, please?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Also, poor Tom Atkins, and poor her for that matter, he had pneumonia for most of the shoot, and he's still incredible. He still has so much energy. He's just great. Also, another little fun fact, he was really good friends with Ralph Straight, who played the part of Buddy Kupfer, who is the American guy who comes. He's like the biggest salesman of Silver Shamrock. They were such good friends. They used to meet for a beer pretty regularly at the bar, talk about Halloween 3, reminisce. And unfortunately, in 1992, on his way home from the bar, he actually died of a heart attack and died in a car accident. But they were good friends for a long time. Something you wouldn't get from watching this movie. Like, you wouldn't know. But I think I don't know. It's kind of sweet.
Yeah.
I also love that his son is played by Joshua John Miller, which I didn't notice that for forever. But Joshua John Miller is Homer in Near Dark. He's the little brother in Teen Witch. And I love him as the co-writer of Final Girls, one of my favorite movies of the last 10 years. But yeah, this is like his first movie. It's so cute because when you look him up on Letterboxd, it's the one that comes at the top because it's his biggest movie. But you never think of him as being in this movie. He's adorable.
Isn't his dad the father from The Exorcist as well?
Yeah, his dad is Jason Miller, who is Father Karras in The Exorcist, and that's what Final Girls was written about. Is he was somebody who had a father pass away, and was invited to screening after screening of watching his dad die, and he's like, "This is just really, really hard because that's not Father Karras to me. That's Dad." Right. And so he wanted a movie that kind of touched on his relationship with his dad and what that was like for him, and what would it be like to crawl into the movie The Exorcist and maybe save Dad. But he's just such an interesting, fascinating person. So it was kind of fun to see that he's in this movie because I just think he's amazing, and I would love to see more from him. What are you doing out there, Joshua Miller? Do some more stuff. You guys love him too. He's amazing, especially as that punk ass little brother and Teen Witch. Why haven't I done Teen Witch on this show? I need to do more movies on this show. This show, I swear, is going downhill. It is going downhill. All right, so let's talk about Tom Atkins' character, Dr. Chalice. Here's what I love about Tom Atkins. He makes a character who, on paper, he's a dick. I'm sorry. He's an asshole. And I still like him. And it's because of Tom Atkins' performance, because of this earnest performance where you're just like, you're just stupid. You don't realize that you're about like that you're not a great human being. But some of the highlights. Here's some highlights of Tom Atkins.
Pillows are in the cabinet, and there's milk and cookies in the fridge.
I think I should have married you, Agnes.
Watch it.
So yeah, give her a little bit of sexual harassment in the workplace, but he's so damn charming. He is so damn charming that, like, I don't know. I don't know if even today he'd get canceled. I don't know if he would. Like, I don't know, guys. He's really charming. And then the fact that the whole movie, his ex-wife, who is played by Nancy Loomis, who was Annie in Halloween, is trying to get him to take his damn kids for a night. Just a night, all right? She needs a bubble bath. She needs a night off. And he won't take his damn kids. In fact, here, where's that? Here
I gotta go. Bye.
He ditches the kids for a 6-pack and a younger woman.
The champagne
of
beer,
man. Living the frickin' dream.
What do you guys think makes him so charismatic in this movie?
He's our dad. Like he's the dad that you know what I mean? Like that's who he reminds me of. He reminds me of the quintessential 80s dad in this movie. Like he's just a gruff, no bullshit, drinking on the job, not giving a shit about the kid. Like he is the way I was raised. Like the way I was raised was like mom loves the kids, dad loves the mom. That's it. Dad's a dick. Don't take the last piece of chicken. Leave him the biggest spoon in the drawer, and then go the fuck to bed. Like that's, you know what I mean? That's Tom Atkins to me. Like that he is the American dad in this movie. And but he also, like, you can tell when he's with his kids that he loves his kids. Like he does try to be a good dad, but at the same time, it's like
but sure.
Right, you know, it's like I mean, no more school supplies.
I can see Brandon. You giving him one of those plastic masks. He's like, "Nah, silver shamrock, guys. Come on, you know what's up, Dad." Hey,
here's your mask.
Have
Brandon
your parents ever given you a substandard mask and you just looked at it, Brandon?
Yeah.
Like, do you know who I am? Do you know who I am?
Yeah, you gotta love Tom Atkins, man.
I am the one who knocks on Trick or Treat Studios' door.
I really think that he like I said, he's just dad to me in this movie. Like he's the guy that you gotta remember 80s dads though, man. Like 80s dads weren't like different dads today that cared about people.
There's Bill Cosby.
Exactly. There you go. Good rebuttal. You know, like
Glory.
He was good when the cameras were on, but when they were off, he was putting something. Yeah, he didn't give a shit. Like he just, Tom Atkins was like, I'm gonna do me. I'm gonna make sure my kids are taken care of. They still got their mom, but 6-pack, a motel, and this young girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you
But you-
guys think, Brandon and Mav?
To piggyback off what Ken said, just exactly what he says, like American Dad, but you love him. It's like you don't want to like him, but it's something there that makes you love him. You want to follow him through the movie. Like, okay, what is this stupid ass about to do now? What he's about to get into now? And you want to see him overcome the mission he has in his back pocket. And you just love him, though, even though you feel like you shouldn't love him, but you got to love him just off the things he's going through. And, like, you just see his story from the beginning. And then you go to the end, you're like, hell yeah, man, he did it. Like, that's how I feel about it.
I always took it as like kind of like when you talk about like people's grandparents. It's like, okay, I know grandma's being really racist right now, but grandma don't know better. Like I kind of feel like that this was just the way he was raised. He does not know he's being chauvinistic. He does not know that he is, committing sexual harassment in the workplace. He doesn't know that you shouldn't do surgery while drunk. Dad ran a tractor drunk. He was just fine. Dad smoked 4 packs a day. He lived to be 78. I kind of feel like that kind of thing where he was raised that way. So he honestly does not know. And he's a little bit of a rascal. And I feel like he seems like a guy who just, he's made it this far on charm. He's not the smartest. He's, not like, he's not like the best at things. Like he tends to fuck up a lot, but he manages to get to where he needs to get by charm. Every woman in this movie, when he needs a favor, he's just like, hey, I'll buy you dinner. Like that's how he's learned. Just like how, in a lot of movies, some women learn to use their feminine wiles to get what they want. He has learned that he is a charming motherfucker and he can get what he needs by being charming. So I don't know. Even now, I just think of him as kind of like this little rascal. I still love him despite the fact that he is so canceled.
Right.
It's like he's like the Beavis and Butthead of horror movies. Like it's so much fun to watch, but if I hung out with him for 10 minutes, I'd want to punch him in the face. Like if it was if Tom Atkins from this movie was a real guy, we wouldn't get along.
That he is a product of his time. The 80s, it was a simpler time, not to excuse it, but it was at a simpler time. And I know there's an aspect of his character that correlates with my upbringing. My dad was working all the time, like 20 hours a day, like never there. He was there for us. He was a great dad, loved us, but he was just always working to provide for the family. I think in this movie, he does, like, I agree with Ken. He loves his kids, but I think he loves his vices a little more, which are his booze and his babes. And I think that it's weird. Like it's one of the first times that I can recall, like, actually liking a protagonist who's kind of a dirtbag. You know what I mean? Like what you guys were saying is like, there's a charm to him. There's something about it that is, you don't see that written very often in movies, if ever, where like the person that you're rooting for to, fix the problem is just a real kind of POS.
He's a lot like
boil
Ash
him down.
He's kind of selfish, but you love him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right. Yep. So, so it's a weird dichotomy. Like when you're watching this movie, you're like, man, this guy is a dick, but you're still rooting for him, and you just, you can't help it.
I just plan by the time I'm 65 to be a surgeon that drinks with a mustache and hates his kids. Like that's my goal.
You and me are on the same game plan, Ken. I got that same plan, man.
I'm gonna finally, realize that I can do surgery while I'm drunk.
Yeah.
And real quick before I forget, because I'm a squirrel. Can we talk about the unsung hero of this movie, the gas station attendant?
Let's talk about it.
Brown jewel.
I do love that the movie starts and ends with him. One quick thing that I just want to, Kevin said, Tom Atkins seems like the kind of dad that's like, there's no price on this. I guess it means it's free. Yeah, absolutely. Yes, it's not for the gas station attendant. I love that guy. So the Mr. Grimbridge, ends up at his gas station and he takes him to the hospital. He's just like, yeah, I was raised to help people unless I'm going to get in trouble. Am I going to get in trouble? but I want to help people unless this means some shit for me. Love this guy.
I love how he gets to that scene where he just runs away like that. He's just like,
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, I think especially now I understand it a little bit better. You know, when I was a young, white kid, I'm just like, all right, I don't know what his deal is, but especially in the 80s, there is some random white dude who has passed out at his gas station. Yeah, he thinks he's going to get blamed for it. He thinks he's going to get the cops on his ass. And it's a little bit of commentary that you don't expect from an 80s movie.
Yeah.
He's scared. I think my interpretation is because he's black.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's worried about getting blamed for this, for getting profiled. And unfortunately, that's just kind of how things were in the 80s. That's how things are now.
I get it. I'm a straight white man in America. Things are very hard for me. So I definitely understand where you're coming from, being a straight white guy. All the profiling that happens to me, this is something I can definitely relate to. So I love the fact when movies can put in something important like that. And on a real serious note, horror has always been super, super awesome at making sure that maybe not the community as much. There's a lot of douchebags in the community, but they always make sure that inclusion is super, super important to film. And this is before, you could get canceled for not having inclusion. You look at Night of the Living Dead 68, casting Dwayne and how important that was, and George Romero coming out and saying this is not about the color of his skin. It's about the fact that he came in and had the best audition. And then you have Black Christmas, where you have this lady standing up to this boyfriend saying, I'm not going to have an abortion. I'm going to have this baby. Or I'm going to have an abortion. I'm not going to have this baby. Yeah. I flipped that around. She's telling him straight up, I'm going to have an abortion. You're not going to tell me what I can and can't do. And, even as we went on, you get Tales from the Hood that talk about these super, super important things. And in Halloween 3, you have this message of the fear that this man feels unjustly for trying to do the right thing. And as kids, that completely goes over our heads, and they do it in a way that, we can smile and laugh about it, but they really do touch on something that's super, super important and something that we can't ever take lightly. And the fact that this man was terrified after he had just done the right thing. And that's a real, real scary thing to think about. And I can sit here and joke about it all day being a straight white guy or whatever, but it's really a sad thing that I could never imagine being scared of that, people that really deal with that. And it's one of the most sad things I can think of. And I'm sorry for anybody that's ever had to go through anything like that, whether it's, the color of your skin, your sexual preference, your religion. It's a real bummer that we still live in a society in 2022. They can't open their fucking eyes to the different color of skin doesn't mean a goddamn thing, and even back then, people talk about how, it's bigger today than it was. No, it's just easier to get out there today than it was back in 1988. With social media, it's a lot easier to get these issues out in the world. It's always been there. They've talked about it in film since before any of us were even swimming. So, the fact that they brought it up in this movie and they tried to put it in your face a little bit without preaching to you, it's special. That's something special about this movie.
Right. Yeah.
Well said. Brandon, as the only one of us who's probably actually knows about this stuff firsthand, what are your thoughts
Who's
on it?
white
Not to put you on the
deficient?
spot. Not to put you on the spot, but just I want to hear your thoughts on it.
I just, like he said, it's a hidden message, and it's stuffed in your mouth, and they're starting to do that with modern day horror, for example, Jordan Peele's Get Out. They're starting to try to show little things like that. That's stuffing in your mouth, in my opinion. That's hey, it's Frontline. Well, with this movie, Halloween 3, it was we're not going to stuff it in your mouth. We're going to kind of put it back. Yeah. You can take the message as it is, and we're not going to just put it right there. But it kind of you get the point of it. You get enough of it, to the point. It's okay, I understand what they're doing, and you feel bad for the guy. But you see the situation, like you said, Gory. He's no, I'm not dealing with that. It's real life, and it's in the 80s. Yeah. So it's they really do it perfect to the point. You get it immediately. Oh, I get what they're doing. They're trying to do this little And it's still, you know, it's still that scene is still like huge in 2022. That's what's crazy. That was in the 80s, and it still means something in 2022. So I should tell you about Halloween.
Unfortunately, it still means something now.
The movie was ahead of its time. Look at Halloween Ends.
For sure.
You know, it was ahead of its time.
Absolutely. It's like what you guys were saying. Sometimes less is more too. You know, it's like you can get pounded over the head with it, and you're going to turn more people off than you are on to whatever your message may be. This one, it's what, 5 seconds maybe of the movie, but it says a lot more than you know, whether it's Evil Dies Tonight, whatever you want to, you know, focus on. Like, it says a lot more in those 5 seconds than any amount of time, you know. So
well, look at Black Christmas 2019. I'm not trying to change the subject, but that's somebody over the head with your message, you're going.
I don't even think they consciously had a message. I think it's just reality, and I think they were just aware of that reality. You know, I think it would have been 100%. False to not address that reality. So I'm really glad they included it. I also love this guy because we end on this movie too. So he's a nice bookend in this movie, and there's a lot of debate. Do gas stations hand out candy? And I would say Santa Mira is an extremely small town, and they would. Where I live, it's a city, but it's a small city. You can go to Walmart and they have a trunk or treat. You can go to the mall. You can go downtown. All the stores will pass out candy. What do you guys think? Is that something that rang true to you, or you thought was weird?
Oh, it was true. That's reality where I stay. Trunk or treats, and you know, a lot of people, you bring up trunk or treats, I'm like, what is that? You know, that's a thing. They put, you know, instead of going knocking on doors, they park their cars. They say, hey, get it. And I think that's, like you said, Gory, it's reality. I don't think it was even, it is, a lot of the stuff in Halloween 3 is so fluid. It's like they said, action, no script, and just have fun. Like when you look at it, that's why people love it.
Yeah. It's like this weird, like, you know, weird mashup of something so bizarre. You've got Stonehenge, robots, bugs, and then you have like the parts of it that are supposed to be reality feel real. Like there's little details, like the gas station that has candy, you know, like to me, those little details are what makes this movie really special, makes it feel authentic. And you need that grounding in this because this movie goes into some weird places.
Yeah. I'm the store manager of a Napa store. And we hand out candy at Halloween. I have suckers on the counter for kids that come in all throughout the year. It's just something like our whole town. I live in a small town where you know everybody. And we literally do the business trick or treat in the morning where you go to every business in town and we all hand out candy. And then in the evening, we have our citywide trick or treating. So, I mean, like we literally have 2 different trick or treatings, you know, throughout Halloween weekend. So that way you have the business side of things where kids come to all the, you know, and we always give extra candy for the kids that went, you know, unique with their costumes, and we have fun with it. And, you know, I think when you live in a small town, if you grew up in, you know, in like a big, like New York City or LA or something, maybe you didn't have that quaint, you know, everybody knows everybody.
Place where there are stores where they have a resident cat or dog that's just there and just sits on the counter.
Yeah.
I have at least 3 of those in my town.
Yeah. It's just like, I love that. Like and that's something when I watch these movies, I feel at home. You know, I've talked to people about like Children of the Corn, and they're like, I watched that movie and those people didn't look like me. I'm like, I watched that movie and those motherfuckers look exactly like me. That's why that movie scared me, you know? So like, I love that small town vibe because that's what I grew up in. You know, my mom and dad owned the only video store within 30 miles of our town when I was a kid.
Oh, that's awesome,
you know?
man.
Yeah. So like, it's just like, I love watching movies where you have that small town feel, where you have candy in a bowl at a gas station, or you have the people that put their candy bowl out on their front porch with a sign that says "Take one," and you know the kids are going to do it out of respect for that. Out of respect for that.
I live in a small town, and there's still some asshole kid who just dumps the whole bucket, and me.
The craziest shit happens in a small town. I think Halloween 3 shows you that. It's like, they're small. So
the blinker.
I will tell you guys, if you want the full size candy, go to a small town because we get so often fewer trick-or-treaters. So you can just go buy a bunch of cool candy, and then you got to do it every year. Or the kids are going to be really disappointed. So recently,
the question in the chat, real quick. I'm sorry. It says, how much does blinker fluid run at your Napa? It depends on if you want conventional or synthetic, and if it's for the front or the rear blinker. Like it really matters on that one too. So if you're looking for blinker fluid, you don't want your blinker fluid to get too low, because if your blinker fluid gets too low, it'll get really dim when it's blinking. So if you want the synthetic stuff, it's a little more expensive. But I also recommend, while you're installing it, use extra elbow grease. We sell the elbow grease too. So make sure you get extra elbow grease to put with your blinker fluid if you're using it.
Oh man.
okay. So I feel like his profile pic is totally his reaction to you. Like right there, like what?
You just blew his mind, bro.
Holy shit!
done.
Came for Halloween 3, got a little bonus car knowledge.
Right.
So something I love is I love filming locations. I love to visit them. I've actually visited one of the filming locations from this one. I've been to the bar, which is in.
Is that Lolita, California, or is
It's
that
not in Lolita.
Sierra
Most of
Madre?
the movie is filmed in Lolita, California, which is funny considering the whole romance in this. But
It's Sierra
I think it's
Madre then, right?
Sierra Madre is where the bar is. It still looks the same. It's moved down 2 doors, but it still has the mural. It still has the paintings. I've been in there. They're really nice. I actually thought the guy, because I was like taking pictures, was gonna like kick me out. He's like, hey, and he was just offering to let me sit at the bar and have my picture taken, which is really sweet, because I think you would think they get tired of it. It's actually really close to the Myers house. It's really close to a lot of it's close to Pasadena, where so much of Halloween 78 was filmed. And another fun location, I covered this in my Leprechaun All the Gory Details review, where if you watch those videos, I literally give you all the details of the movie. It's exhaustive. But they share the front of the hospital is the same front of the hospital where the dad was dropped off in Leprechaun. Here's that. Yeah, same location as Leprechaun, and Irish, guys. There's something going on here. There's a connection. There's a conspiracy is what I'm thinking. Also, let's take a look at that bar that I've been to. It's pretty awesome.
Hey, Charlie, can we have another station?
You got it.
Guys, it looks exactly the same. Exactly.
It's
And
fun
it
fact.
smells like it still has remnants of Tom Atkins musk in it.
Smells like Groot.
Fun fact about that scene: if you watch the extended cut of that scene, he's like, "Hey, can we get something else on the TV?" And he turns it to Halloween, and he's like, "Never mind, go back to the cartoon. Turn that shit back."
Another little fun fact. So at the
Love you,
time
Jaden.
at Halloween night, the year this movie aired, they say at 9:00. Tune in for the big giveaway, Halloween night, 9:00. Which, by the way, is Tommy Lee Wallace. He does the song, and he does the announcer in this on the commercial. But at 9:00, Halloween night, the year this movie came out, 1982. Guess what was showing on NBC? Halloween 78, baby. It's just little things like that I think are kind of funny.
Hadn't those kids been through enough?
Let's talk about the guy shows up in his hospital. Everyone thinks he's drunk, that maybe he didn't quite see it all, but the guy gets killed. He gets his face like kind of pulled. And then the guy's young daughter, and never crosses Tom Atkins' mind that he's like the same age as the guy who died, but whatever. She shows up and she's very concerned about her dad. And you would think Tom Atkins' character Chalice would have no reason. Why does he care what happened to this guy? It's because she's cute. She real cute. Roger Ebert hated this movie. It is on his most hated list, but he did say that Stacey Nelkin, who this was her first big role, that she was the saving grace of this movie, and she's great in this movie.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Is Roger Ebert still alive?
No.
Yeah.
I was gonna say I don't think so.
That's what he gets for saying that.
Karma.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But yeah, she's great in this. She still loves the movie to this day. She thought this was a great role. It's just awesome to get like a big role like this where it's like a strong character. She gets what she wants. She wants Tom Atkins. She's gonna get it. She wants to know where her dad is. She's gonna find out. You cannot stop her, and that's one of the things I really like about her. And again, it's a little advance for the 80s where women were typically the ones pursued. This woman, she doesn't care. Like in this clip, roll it.
Where do you want to sleep, Dr. Chalice?
It's a dumb question, Miss Grimp.
Yeah, as much shit as I give Tom Atkins, she is the pursuer in this one. Like, he's offering to sleep in the car. She's like, guess what? This is happening. In fact, later on, there's another great scene where they've already had sex, and she's kind of going in for round 2, and he's like, aren't you the least bit tired? And she's not. And I just want to be like, honey, she's like 25 years younger than you. Of course she's not tired. She's in her 20s. You're an old man. That's why you don't do this. That's why you don't do this, guys. Okay. You're gonna go out like Pearl's husband in Pearl or in X. Ooh. That's why you don't. You get to a certain age, you stick to other little old ladies.
No, I'll go out like that.
Or do what you want. I don't care. You live your life.
That's exactly how I've written it out to go out.
Nice. Except for me, I'm gonna find like all kinds of young dudes, but I'm gonna make them like, I don't know, I'm gonna oil them up and make them do chores around my house. Then I'll sit on their backs while they have like these little strappity things and use them as like, transportation. But that's my life. That's not your life. So
the amount of excitement I feel in my chest right now should be illegal.
It's gonna be great, guys. You'll see it all on the channel. It'll be the Gorby Granny channel at that point, but it's still gonna be red. By then we will have covered
Granny Beach. Do you see the Granny Beach?
Gorby Granny. When I'm old, I have it all planned out.
You're like the MCU. You've got your phases already.
Yeah,
planned out.
I do.
Everything.
That's the granny phase.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. So yeah, they go out, they get a motel, cutest motel ever in Santa Mira. The town's really cute, really small. One of those towns where everybody like instantly looks at them, instantly notices that they're there. Everyone's kind of all up in everyone's business, and everyone thinks Cochran is just amazing. And you think it's because he's brought industry to this town, but he hasn't. We meet one gentleman who says, hey, I wanted a job. It's the only job in town. And I understand that for the longest time we have a business in our town, Alcoa. If you didn't work at Alcoa, you didn't really have a job. Like back in around this time, around like the 80s and stuff, when you have a big industry, you need them to offer jobs. And they say that Cochran brought in his own people. And so again, we've got some more of that like commentary, like social commentary, the big business that comes in and puts out the little guy, They also talk about how the business Silver Shamrock is upsetting small businesses. Like we have a lot of people who are there, like Marge Gutman, that's played by Tom Atkins' wife, who talk about how it's a lot harder now. Even Mr. Grimbridge, Ellie's dad, his business is struggling because, you've got all these big corporations now and they're kind of pushing people out. And the thing is when Marge Gutman notices that the tag came off, she's like, you would think like these are so expensive, they'd be high quality. They're being mass produced. So it's kind of a commentary on when things get mass produced, the quality goes down. So you don't get that personal touch that you would get from the small businesses that are now being displaced.
Mm-hmm.
Awkward silence while everyone nods. Moving on.
Like even when you show up in the town and you got the cameras that are just following the car, all as they're going through the town, and Jamie Lee Curtis in this part, with an uncredited role, talking over the speaker. Everybody, locked down.
I've got that for you. You ready? You ready?
Yeah.
6 o'clock.
It's 6 o'clock. Curfew.
Jamie Lee
She's
Curtis
also
right
the operator on hold later on when the nurse or the other doctor tries to call the motel and stuff. The operator on hold when they're like, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Actually, a little part. And they're little things that tie it into the franchise, kind of make it part of this like cohesive whole. What else? Some more little fun facts. Cochran, I think he's amazing in this. He doesn't think very highly of the movie. But he said it was a lot of fun. He liked getting to do the Irish accent. He's probably best known for the RoboCop movies. I mentioned Nancy Loomis, who plays Chalice's ex-wife. She was actually pregnant during filming. That's something I forgot to mention earlier. And not only was she pregnant since she was married to Tommy Lee Wallace, she was pregnant with the director's child. So
that is crazy.
Whole lot of crazy stuff happening here, guys. Let's talk about Dick Warlock. I think I mentioned him a little bit earlier. Oh, and I didn't show that. Here's Dick Warlock ripping off Mr. Grimberg's head at the start of the film. Just a great kill. That's Dick Warlock, who was the Shape in Halloween Part 2. Dick Warlock actually owns a shop in my town. He's not from here, but he did live here for a really long time with one of his sons, who is the Boombox Kid in Halloween 2. He's also the father of the main character in Society. But yeah, Dick Warlock did all the stunts in this movie. He's the creepy android guy, and he's Michael Myers.
He's got a badass last name too.
Really? I know, right?
Right.
As an adult, watching this for the first time, when they put him down on his knees, I got so much anxiety. I was like, what the hell is happening right now?
What is coming next?
I think I know why everybody hates this movie.
Fairpoint Station says, blowjob vibes in this scene. Yeah, but some of us
You're looking for work in this town, boy.
You're gonna get some work, is what you're gonna get. You're gonna get some work. We'll give you a job.
Time, man. We'll get you a job.
Where do these accents come from? I don't know. Let's see. Other fun stuff we could talk about. So let's talk about Tom Atkins' wife. Her name's Garn something. I can't remember her real life name. But it's that's kind of touches on my one complaint about this movie is you have this very young girl in her 20s, who she's fantastic. I don't think she should have been cast opposite a man in his 50s. But then they're having sex in the movie in a hotel room where his literal real life wife is in the next room, and she is a woman of his age, And not only is she in the next room, she's getting killed.
Yeah.
Like, how horrible.
That is freaking crazy when you see it. That is crazy.
Can you imagine being in a movie with your partner and you're the person in the other room?
Yeah. I would be the person getting killed if I was Tom Atkins by my real wife, not by my pretend fling. Yeah, for sure. It's a whole different ballgame.
That's gotta hurt. Where you're, I get casting and all that stuff doesn't really quite work that way, but not even a woman his own age, like that doesn't happen, especially in the 80s. That did not happen for women. We didn't have women in their 50s in movies with like guys in their 20s. That doesn't even really happen now.
Yeah, as you say, the only one I could think of is maybe is it The Graduate? That's about it.
And in that one, they make a big deal how that is a faux pas. And people always say Mrs.
Like
Robinson because it's so rare. But let's pay our respects to Mrs. Gutman, Tom Atkins' wife, in the next room while her hubby's getting some young strange. Oof. Here's the worst part. If you look at the clock in the room where they're making love, she sat there for like 4.5 hours. 4.5 hours with bugs coming out of her face. Little cooties, like the game Cootie, comes right out of her face. You guys have played that game. You put the little legs on. That's what comes out of her face. It's a damn cootie. Comes out of her damn face. Probably laying eggs up in her hair because they took 4.5 hours to go check on her. The rants. We're all about the rants tonight, guys. I love this movie, by the way. I love it. Very good.
Yeah, you gotta love Halloween 3.
So that's another one of the great kills in this movie. Guys, thoughts on the practical effects in this movie?
Oh man,
they're fantastic.
Yeah,
Great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially for the time. I mean, you think about what we see in 2022. I mean, how
yeah,
some of the stuff falls flat. Christopher Nelson's been fantastic with the Halloween trilogy and the practical effects, but some of the stuff you see, I mean, today just it falls short of the mark. And this was done in 82. So yeah,
yeah,
hats off to him. Totally. Absolutely.
yeah. I agree. It definitely stands tall in modern day. You
Yeah.
go back and look, and it's movies out here that just came out with updated options, and they're still falling flat, like Maveryk said. But Halloween 3 are just you go look at that, it's like, wow, what the hell?
Yeah.
Well,
That's
you look
awesome.
at even in this movie alone, you see the practical effects that they do and how great they are. And I know I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but you look at the the computerized effects that they do. I don't want to say CGI because it wasn't really CGI back then, but when the building's on fire in the background and it looks like complete shit, when they have like just the light glow, like
Yeah.
I would rather have a practical effect that doesn't hold up as well compared to a
Right.
CGI effect that doesn't.
I kind of
hold up
like it because it matches that scene where the kids are trick or treating in the poster.
Yeah,
I thought it was cool. Also, good news, guys. Hopefully, good news. My brother is now home with my mom, so hopefully she is feeling better.
Good.
I'm gonna call and check on them as soon as our stream is over. Also, nice to see executive sessions here. And also, I haven't said this to you guys. This is only my second ever monetized stream. So just thank all of you in the Glory Hole for watching and being a part of these Halloween celebrations. Because it just ain't Halloween without you. Just not. Let's see. Other fun little things. Did you guys know? Did you know? So I mentioned Christine earlier, and there's some things in this movie that remind me a lot of Christine. A little bit of the soundtrack, a few of the scenes, even though Christine hadn't come out yet. But it's Carpenter, so you think that some of that stuff might have just been like in his brain. But that car that the guy explodes himself in, that he totally Ben Tramers himself in, that's a Plymouth Fury. Same car as Christine.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm aware.
You guys are
I'm
just like
aware.
my son. Like, yeah, that's a fun fact.
I had a kid at school, Mom. Can I go play Xbox
Yes,
I
now?
know. That's the look you guys are giving me. You can go play outside if you want.
You can't tell me that's the look I'm giving. I've given you the same look since we started the stream.
Actually, you remind me of this Garfield calendar I used to have where it would show like hungry, angry, thirsty, and it's all the same face, but I can see the differences. The slight glint in your eye. I know.
Oh, that's
Fair
great.
enough. Touche.
Shishy to you
Mom's
too.
mad at me, so I'm gonna go on timeout here pretty soon.
Uh-oh. Yeah, and did I mention the fluid coming out of the android's mouth when they get killed is orange concentrate?
Yes.
Hey, kick ass. So the awesome thing about being monetized now is I get super chats now, guys. And my brother, my very awesome brother who watches all my streams, sent me a super chat, and it still counts, even though it's my brother. So thank you, Zigma.
Oh, yeah, still count.
Thank you. That's awesome. My family's the best. They rule.
I
All
know
right,
I'm
so
not the only one who remembers orange concentrate, right? Like you
Yeah,
guys remember
the
that
little
stuff?
frozen
with
orange
eggs in it?
juice.
Oh
Frozen-
yeah,
Frozen
and like
tube?
oh
Yeah.
my god.
So in this
I was
last
so
week,
crazy
I've
when I learned
been
that.
I've been in 2 different movies and a music video. And it sounds like I do a lot of acting. This is all like my first acting ever. Just in this last week, I was in Danny's movie. I was in a nun movie, where it's a zombie nun, and I had to eat tofu dyed green. I had to eat Alka-Seltzer. I had to eat tapioca pudding that was dyed gray. So yeah, I would take orange concentrate over that stuff any day. I don't think the guys in this movie had it that bad. That stuff is delicious. It tastes like an orange
I used
popsicle.
to take a spoon to it, just pop the top and take a spoon to it and eat it. Yep.
Easiest job ever. Easiest job ever. Couple things. Some people, these are theories, and I know me and Brandon have our own theories. Couple people have had a theory for the longest time that Michael Myers was one of those androids, and that's how they were linking it in. We've seen him beat up so much it doesn't really hold water, but it is interesting. Some people have also, because Tommy Lee Wallace did Fright Night 2, the ghoul from Fright Night 1, they say he's one of them, but no, he's a ghoul, guys. It's a totally different thing.
Yeah.
A ghoul.
I remember having that thought though when I was a kid. The first time I saw it was like, is Michael Myers a robot? But you know, it just it never
especially early on, I could see why people thought that. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like in the early
I was
movies.
just desperate to have Michael in this movie as a kid. You know what I mean? So that's why I was like, is he going to pop up and like, you know, but
we literally saw Michael as a little boy though. Like robots don't get bigger.
no. Yeah.
That's true.
Like I'm saying, like when I saw this, I was probably like 9-10 years old.
Yeah.
So I was,
Stupid kid.
I was a moron.
So that's a good segue into some of the theories. I know I'm not alone. Brandon and I are on the Shamrock train.
Yeah.
Woo! Shamrock train. It's a thing, guys. We firmly believe that this movie is connected to the rest of the franchise. Brandon, lay it on them.
So it was crazy as you guys seen Halloween Ends, it opens up with the sky blue in the font. So something's there when you know when you go see Halloween Ends, you see the font. But I kind of was, thinking the mask, not Michael as the shape, but the mask is connected almost in a way where they probably did a project, the mask is discontinued, and instead of killing, it makes you one of them in a way, because they say Michael gets the mask from like a hardware store or whatever, but it's almost in the same, bucket as, the mask kind of controls Michael. It controls him, and Halloween Kills, we see this what kind of made me just think hard about it. We see, kids having a silver shamrock on, they, we get the scene with the nurses. They got him on. Michael's holding a skull in his hand, the skull mask. But at the end, he gets his mask took off. He's in the middle of the street. And he makes it a point. If you just go back and look through the whole franchise, Michael always makes it a point to put the mask on before anything happens to him. And even in 78, Laurie takes it off. As soon as he puts it on, Loomis shoots him 6 times. He gets right back up. Kills. He has the mask, Brackett says it's Halloween. Everyone's entitled to one good scare. He looks left, he looks right. He's not afraid of poles or guns or knives.
Or irons.
Or irons. He puts the mask on, and then he approaches everybody and just John Wicks them and slices them and does all this. It makes sense. Like I just knew, I swear, when I went to go see Halloween Ends, I just knew it was going to be a moment they folded back, and it's like a stamp in a mask. It's like Project One with the clover, and I'm just looking for it. But
I firmly believe that both of Michael Myers' masks are silver shamrock masks, and I think that these are different than the ones in the movie. Maybe they were early prototypes. Maybe they learned from these masks and used that information to create these masks. But I do believe that clown mask, it's kind of like I always compare the mask of Michael to the Mystery Machine and Fred in Scooby-Doo. Like that is like one of the greatest love stories of all time, guys. That's like Harold and Maude there. That's Romeo and Juliet. Actually, Romeo and Juliet. It's a horrible love story. But you guys know it's like Ken and Ashley, right? It's a great love story. The Mask and Michael Myers. And that mask, it found in Michael somebody who had the potential for pure evil. Like he was born evil. Yeah. But that mask is drawn to him. It finds him because he's evil. And the mask needs to be fed. And the more he feeds the mask, the stronger and more invincible he gets, especially with his like William Shatner mask. So they even show that in Halloween Ends. He's not doing so good. I'm not spoiling anything, but as soon as he kills somebody, you can see like his health bar go up. He feeds that mask. Every kill feeds the mask and makes him stronger. So I have always believed that is a silver shamrock mask. I just need to see the logo on it, and maybe they didn't do it then, but that is my theory on that. And, it's a lot of people are kind of in that camp with us, which is, got to keep that growing. My dog's just freaking out. I'm so sorry.
I love whoever's dog is barking is the fact of right now. They're like, oh, you're talking about Michael? You talking about that some bitch that killed those dogs? Let him in here. Let him in here. Let's see what's up.
Got them all riled up and shit. That's funny.
And Michael moves like those robots. He's stiff. The way he just operates when you look at him, he's stiff like the robots. But
especially Dick Warlock.
Yeah, Dick Warlock. Yeah. So it makes sense.
The one argument I remember hearing when right after Kills, when David Gordon Green had released the radio tower was going to play a major part in the third movie, and there was a lot of speculation that that the mask was going to be a silver shamrock mask, and people were like, well, in the bar, you see them watching Halloween, you know, so it shows that it's not canon. But I was sitting there thinking, I remember at the time, is like, what if what they were watching, yes, it's the Halloween that we saw, it's the clip from the movie, but it was a documentary of the nights of those incidents, right? So it was like how there's on Netflix the Dahmer documentary that's out there. What if I know, Ken, I know where you're at with that. So, but I'm saying, like, just in that same respect, right? That someone made a documentary of the nights of the events of '78, and what they were showing on TV was like a reenactment, so to speak, of it. So it could still technically be canon if you wanted to make that argument. Like, it's just a theory that I had. So, because that's the main argument that I've heard. Well, they show the preview, the Immortal Classic Halloween, on TV, so it takes it out of canon. But I don't know. I think you could. I
disagree. I mean, like you said, it could be a documentary, and also we are in a world now where we have like a multiverse. You know, I have a theory about Cochran too. I don't think Cochran dies at the end. We'll talk a little bit more about that, but I believe that Cochran is zapped to somewhere else. What if he got zapped to a different dimension? And when we see the Silver Shamrock mask in David Gordon Green's, it's because he's already set up shop.
Yeah,
those kids were going to die one way or another that night.
Cochran obviously knew something was going on, because when he started dropping the medallions, what did Cochran do? Maybe you fell right into Cochran's trap. He's not.
I have a lot to talk about with his plan and stuff. But I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Also, guys, I'm so sorry for that Nightbot. I don't know. I think that might be my fault. I don't know who got Nightbot, but Nightbot's a dick. Fuck that bot. That bot, I kicked it out. Nice to see Cheers for Fears here. And Cal L, like you sit on a throne of lies. That's what you do. But love you, buddy. But you do sit on a throne of lies.
Cal's my
all right.
We've
Are you a vampire? I can see dollies in the background. Doilies. Oh. Who's a vampire? Oh, Maveryk? Maveryk's not a vampire. He's a what is it called? Like a vigilante. I don't know. Watch V for Vendetta. He's that guy who likes Guy Fawkes, even though he's not British. I don't understand Americans' obsession with Guy Fawkes. I mean, I love burning down an effigy of a human being just like the next guy, but guys, that's like cultural appropriation. No, I'm kidding. I'm totally joking. Guy Fawkes Day is the freaking best, though. Like, it's awesome. We have no claims about it being about independence or anything. It's like, this guy tried to blow up Parliament a long time ago. Now we're just gonna burn dolls of this guy every year and have fireworks.
I don't know if you guys have it, but here in Michigan, we have Devil's Night. And the night before Halloween, everybody just fucks shit up all the time. So I'm sitting out on my porch.
I've heard of that in like The Crow. But I kind of like Guy Fawkes Day. Like, I want to make Guy Fawkes Day for everyone's enemy. So it could be anyone that you hate the most. You could just pick anybody. Guy who bullied you in the 3rd grade, make an effigy, burn it. It's so satisfying.
That's interesting.
Anyway, I'm totally off topic.
That's okay. It was interesting.
But
I'm so sorry, guys.
I think that would have been so cool if, in Halloween Ends or something, you get to see someone driving past the old Silver Shamrock factory, like, or something like that. Because the mask does exist in a trilogy. We got kids. It's crazy because they have the charm on the back of the mask, so it's definitely Silver Shamrock. It's not like a ripoff. So it's so crazy. Like, what if the commercial played? Like, what if it was like oh, you guys remember the commercial from back in the day type of thing, and it played? Like, man, that would have been so crazy. And I really do think they're going to tackle a modern day Halloween.
I would love a modern day one. And also, one of the things I think is so ripe for a modern day sequel, which there's been talk of, we're different than our parents' generations. My parents, I thought it was weird when my mom got a U2 because she loved Bono calendar. I'm like, what? Like, I feel guilty because my whole house is my toys. I am a full grown child. But their generation, that was weird for adults to have toys and stuff. But our generation, I mean, all of us have Michael Myers masks. All of us have these things. And so what if they played on the fact that collectors these days have these masks? And some of them are Silver Shamrock masks. Like, can you imagine? Like, and that would hit you where you live too, because like, we're collectors. We have those. Like, what if they were evil? So I think that would be really cool.
I would honestly, in this boat, I would rather see a remake than a sequel, because like if you watch the commentary on the movie, they pushed really hard for this movie to have, during the credits, kids screaming throughout all of the end credits, to have that effect of every kid in the world is being killed by the masks. So to do a sequel, I mean, it would be cool, but it's like, we live in a world with no kids. You know what? They should do a sequel. I just don't want to have any kids. But no, I would love to see a remake where, I think that now, like especially right now, the idea of how quickly the word could spread about buying these masks and tuning in, maybe even on a stream, a streaming type service at the right time for a contest to be part of your favorite, social media person's live stream, anything, you could modernize this to make it make sense, to where you could have so many different people being a part of it and still make sense. It's not you have to tune in to Fox 36 Toledo at 9 p.m. and people are like, what the hell's a Fox 36? Like they could have it legit be something modern.
The novelization by this, which the novelizations for a lot of the Halloween books by Jack Martin are really, really good. That book was actually a bestseller when it came out, and it actually got re-released a year after the movie. It was more successful than the movie. The novelization gives us some more details that we didn't quite get in the movie, and it is very, very clear that you can hear the sounds of children screaming like all over the country. There are millions of children dying from that last channel. So the book makes it extremely clear that the kids died. However, bless his heart, Tom Atkins was asked in an interview what he thought. He's like, I like to think that they took it off and it ends happy. So, it's,
shut up,
you
Tom.
can take it the way you want. I think that they died. I go with the darker ending.
Yeah.
Well, I just think that makes more sense.
Yeah. And Universal wanted them to reshoot the ending to make it clear cut that it was everything was fixed. He got all the channels to cancel the commercial, and Carpenter still had the creative rights and was like, no.
Well, what Carpenter did is he went to Tommy Lee Wallace and he said, okay, what do you want? Because he's a filmmaker and he's had Hollywood shit all over his stuff before and lost a lot of creative control. So he said, Tommy, what do you want? Tommy said, I like the ending. He's like, okay, then you're getting your ending. And he went to bat for him, which I think is really cool. He could have just tried to kiss ass with Universal and he didn't.
I'm not a huge fan of the Halloween franchise, but one thing I can say, John Carpenter is that guy. Like, I just watched a new interview with John Carpenter where they were like, is this the end of Halloween? And he goes, let's see how much money it makes. That is the most baller answer I could have ever imagined anyone
giving.
Well, John Carpenter has earned the right to say that. If it doesn't
He's
make money, I
disillusioned
won't
about
do another one.
Hollywood studio films. He is.
Yeah.
And he has every right to be, but
honesty of that answer.
Yeah, he's very honest about it. And I love John Carpenter, but I do feel with Halloween, it's one of those ones where he made this awesome baby, and then by the time Halloween 2, he's like, I'm just not ready to be a dad to a big slasher icon. And Halloween 3,
Dr. Chalice of Halloween.
Yeah, by Halloween 4, he had dropped that shit off. He dropped that baby off at the firehouse, and it's like, it's your problem now.
You dropped that shit off.
Yeah, it's like I'm too young to be the father of a slasher icon.
He's that guy.
Michael has tracked him down and been like, why, Dad? Why? And he's like, I don't know. Here's the music is like the equivalent of the birthday card, but he is just not about that life, guys. He is not about that. Some slasher icons get raised by Don Mancini and David Kirshner and are raised in a home full of love, and some like Michael, like it just makes you sympathize with them all the more.
I don't know. If Michael was my kid, I wouldn't keep him either.
Well, he is a little bad.
Love you, Brandon.
Oh my.
The movie, another theme of the movie is practical jokes. They talk about how Cochran was a big practical joker, and a big part of this plan is kind of a joke on the kids going to door to door begging for candy. It's like, you want a trick? I'll give you a trick. But we see that in a lot of the things that he's, popularized, like, they talk about how he came up with a lot of joke gifts and stuff. But even like the robot, the lady who's knitting, like it's very clearly a robot. It doesn't look like the other ones. He said it's one of his oldest ones. And a really great scene. Roll it.
Where is she? Where is she?
And Tommy Lee Wallace said they intentionally wanted it to look goofy because it's supposed to have that practical joke quality to it.
I real quick, Ashley wrote this amazing joke. I'm going back to our episode again, but right after that, we splice in the scene from Dumb and Dumber where it's like his head fell off.
That's awesome.
Oh my god! Like, so I can't watch that clip without laughing now. But like, you're right. Like, it's one of those things. Like, when you see it, you obviously know that looks like one of those things in the wax museum. You know,
like the Hall of Presidents. Yeah.
Like that's totally what. And that's the first time when you notice, like, okay, something's definitely not right with these people. You know, and Zigma, love it. But you know that's where you know that something's not right with these androids.
My little brother, everyone. My little brother.
Oh man.
I'm gonna. You know what, Zigma? I'm gonna give you the Connell Cochran.
Yeah.
Cochran, my brother. Guys, I love it when we get together and Cochran people. It's like reminds me of the old days.
Man, that
Stand
made a
By Me
whole
movie's gonna
different
come out
when I
about
was
the
in
four
high
of us guys. You wouldn't believe
Right.
the shit we've done.
But it's just like I love the fact that they take that moment to show you how far that they've come with the design of these androids. You know, because obviously everything grows, it evolves, it gets better over time. And I love the fact that throughout this movie they have little moments like that. And we talk about how, you know, ahead of the times this was, but they do, like, another thing that we talk about, they do a lot of real physical comedy in this movie. Like when Tom Atkins is running from him and he does the best bush dive I've ever seen on film. You know, like I laugh out loud every time I watch it. And I think that that's what I love so much about this movie is this movie literally has a little bit of everything. Like it has that action. It's a love story. It has the fear of genuine, you know, there's genuine fear
story.
with this movie.
Let's be honest.
There's sci-fi that goes along with it. Like there's just, I love this movie because it's a little bit of everything rolled up into this pretty little package of not having Michael Myers. And I think that has really made this movie stand out a little bit more over the net, you know, over time, because people hated it so much. And now people have really come to realize, like, you know what? This is a very good movie. And I think that how many times have we had that now with movies that have become these cult classics that were bombed when they first came out? If you remember, Halloween H2O was not received well at all. People hated that movie when it came out. The Screamoween, you know, and look at it.
I loved it. I mean, a lot of my friends loved it.
I loved it. Me and Ashley are still in the boat, and I might get punched in the face.
I love it. It's in my top.
Mentally from
My top
Brandon
3.
on this one.
Yeah.
I don't think
thank you to
Halloween
my brother
Resurrection is
Zigma for the $10 super sticker. Thank you. I really, really appreciate all of your and my maybe movie support. You guys are my #1 fans, and I love you so much. I'm really glad you guys are okay.
Now, I don't hold Halloween Resurrection in as high as regard as Ashley does. Like Ashley really, I think that it's a fun movie though. Like I can watch Halloween Resurrection and have a very good time. I can't say the same about Halloween 2 or Halloween 6.
Well, the whole point of these streams is for me is celebrating these movies, because every single one of these movies, you may not like one. Every single one of these movies is somebody's favorite in the franchise. So we're not going to sit here and talk about like which ones are good and which ones are bad, because you know what? They're all good. They're all good. They all have a place. They all have, you know, they all have, there are times where I'm in the mood for a beer and pizza movie, and Resurrection hits the spot.
Yes.
But yeah, every single one of these movies I think has value. And this one especially, I think it's so original and so fun. And I'm so glad it's part of this franchise. It is the essence of Halloween. It is the film version of like Sam from Trick or Treat. Like it's just, it's amazing. And we got a couple more super chats. Thank you so much, Fairpoint Station. On behalf of Tatum, because she's good people. Tatum is great people.
She is.
And from Mummy B Movie. Thank you, Mummy. And a little super sticker that looks just like my dog Brocky. Thanks, Mummy. I want to talk about Colonel Cochran's plan. So what happens is they get in with Buddy and his family, and they take them on like a tour of the Silver Shamrock Company. And I feel so bad for Buddy because he is like the biggest salesman of Silver Shamrock, and he gets so horribly treated in this film. Like nobody is safe. This is the guy who's selling them, and for a lot of people, it doesn't make a lot of sense why Cochran's doing this. They're like, okay, well, if he kills everybody, no one's going to be able to buy his masks. It's not about the masks. I mean, for him, it's not about a profit. So as somebody who is a witch, I think what he's doing here makes a lot of sense. So it doesn't explain it all. But it's not about making a profit from the mask. The whole point of this is he is sacrificing the children. It's a ritual. And he does talk about how in the early days, also bless him for pronouncing Samhain correctly, unlike Loomis. But in the early days, and this is not true at all, by the way, I celebrate Samhain and we don't sacrifice children. But in their version, they say, you know, the hills ran red with blood. And so he wants something. I don't entirely know what he wants. That's the only part I would have liked more information on. But we know that he has a lot of money and he has a lot of power. And he's gotten that from previous rituals he's done. This is the big one. I'm not entirely sure what it is he wants. It might be power. It might be money. It might be something. I don't know. But he's sacrificing all these children as part of a ritual to get something. That's the I wish we would know what that final little part element of that is. But yeah, that's witchcraft. Also, to clarify for everyone too, because a lot of people say, well, it shouldn't be Season of the Witch because he's a warlock. Real witches don't use the word warlock. Warlock, in like the old like origin of it means oath breaker or liar. So it has negative connotations amongst a lot of witches. Though there are some witches who are like bringing it back. So you know. You could if you want. Anyway, there's a whole bunch of witch information that I don't know if you guys necessarily wanted. Here's Colonel Cochran explaining his Stonehenge plan.
We had a time getting it here. You wouldn't believe how we did it.
And I want to know, how did he get it there? I'm thinking he did some kind of magic and zappity zoot it. You know, maybe he had to do some other ritual to like Star Trek that shit into his big layer.
Beam me
I
up.
don't know why he needed all that Stonehenge. They're not using that much of it. But yeah, so they're putting Stonehenge into these little doodahs that go on the mask that are going to make kids erupt with bugs and stuff. And then the bugs are going to go and kill their family and then kill everybody. And he'll get what he wants.
I just love how he's like, you wouldn't believe it. You're right, because you won't tell us. You big ass.
Exactly. I don't know. What do you guys think about Colonel Cochran's plan? Am I on the money here or am I way off?
No, it's about art to him. Totally about art. You even said, Buddy talked about how he's one of the greatest practical jokers of all time. You know, like, what is better? You know, like, and I'm just saying like this for me, like, I'm a huge baseball fan on top of being a huge horror fan. If you guys couldn't tell, I would give up so much to see the Detroit Tigers win a World Series. And it's not about money. It's about that feeling that I would get to see them raise that trophy. This is his World Series trophy. This is him being able to say he did it. He's done it. He's raised that trophy. No amount of money can buy that winning fee. And I'm talking about killing kids like it's a trophy. But to him, that's what he is. He's a practical joker. This is his big practical joke. And it doesn't matter if anybody knows it. He knows it. He knows what he's done.
And he says that. He says it's kind of a trick on the kids. And then he goes on to explain that, you know, it's a part of a series of like rituals and stuff. So it's a few different things that he's doing here. Couple of questions in the chat. Freaky Girls Live, I think it's coming back in November, Mayor. I think everyone's just busy this month. Zigma wants to know, how does the old lady head tie into that? So it shows how long Cochran's been doing this. Cochran says that one's an old one. And he's been hanging onto it because that's kind of like an early prototype for the cyborgs that he has. Yeah. So it's an accomplishment to him. You know, you work your way up. And I love that we see the history of Cochran. He didn't just start off out the gate being, you know, the Willy Wonka of Halloween masks. Yeah. You know, he has worked his way up from tiny little things. In a lot of ways, he reminds me of like John Hammond from Jurassic Park. You know, like he started with the flea circus and he's worked his way up to this.
Yeah. Well, like to kind of piggyback off what Ken said, and that we almost had the identical analogy, but for where I was thinking his motive or like the end game was I was going to go with the baseball analogy, but like setting the home run record. So you know what I mean? Like he's gonna have, for any future people that participate or that follow, you know, whether he has offspring or whatever, he's set the bar so high. He's like wiped out almost, you know, half the world with with killing these people from the mass. So he's trying to set the bar, like he's trying to outdo the last guy that did this before him when he was talking about the hills ran red, you know, 3,000 years ago, whatever. He's setting the bar. He's trying to be the new, you know, the new home run leader, the new Barry Bonds. So that's kind of how I made sense of it. I'm probably wrong, but that was where my head went. So we were both in the same ballpark. No pun intended, Kim.
Aha.
And
Yeah, right?
he's going to, I mean, for doing all this, I guess the added bonus is like it's trick or treat. And this is kind of like trick and then treat. So he's pulling this ultimate trick, this ultimate, you know, joke on the children of the world, but he's going to get a massive boon for it too. And I think jumping ahead a little bit, like when we see him die. I don't think he's dead. I think he's been imbued with all of this power from Stonehenge, and there's children, you know, who are feeding into this ritual. I think he's become, it's kind of like the end of the new Hellraiser movie. He's kind of become something bigger. So he's like even more dangerous than he was before.
Yeah.
And what a great way to continue the story, because that's my thing. Like, if you're, and look, I'm not trying to shit on just Michael here. If you're going to tell me that a dog pissing in a junkyard can bring Freddy Krueger back from the dead,
and how many times has Dracula been brought back the same way by someone bleeding on his ashes?
Right. Or if you're going to tell me that Chucky's blood getting poured into a vat will only make one new Chucky doll and not a whole vat of Chucky
Don
dolls.
Mancini said it would make multiple Chuckies.
Yes. But I mean, like, if you could bring these people back and do, you know, if you could bring Jason back by getting him struck by lightning with a piece of metal, if you can do all these things, you can't tell me that Colonel Cochran didn't survive this and just got transported somewhere else.
Right.
Like, the clap is the perfect example of him saying, "You fell right into my trap."
Yeah, he's not dying. He's saying
there's
everything's
no
going according to plan.
Yeah,
he doesn't need the robots anymore. In fact, now if you can see how he's grown from like simple animatronics to robots, whatever he makes next is probably going to be indistinguishable from humans.
Yeah.
He's growing. I want to thank the chat really quick here. The Shape and the Shadows, thank you so much for the super chat and a very happy Halloween to you. And Mr. Flickster, thank you so much. When do you want to do a Chucky chat, Gory? I am down to talk Chucky anytime. I did a Chucky chat with Brandon. I like Scary over in his channel recently, but as you guys know, Chucky is my favorite horror franchise. I am always down to talk about Chucky. Eventually, just like I've done this series of Halloween ones, I'm going to do them for the other franchises. Not entirely sure when, but eventually we will do Child's Play. That is my absolute favorite, so I cannot wait.
Me too.
It's awesome.
I'm actually in the midst of doing an I'm sorry, I keep going back to my channel. I'm writing a new segment called Why. That's all it's called, is Why. And I'm going to start bringing people on to talk about why their horror franchise is their favorite franchise. And my episode's going to be Why Chucky and why Child's Play is my favorite franchise. I'm just waiting until season 2 is done so I can include a lot of season 2 of the show in there. But I want to start bringing, you know, we're doing my first horror movie. I would also like, that way I can get some of my old guests back to talk about something new, to bring them back on. Wink, wink, people. You know, why this? You know, why is this your favorite? Why does this one speak to you more than these other ones? And that's something I just think is, you know, Chucky to me is, oh my God. Let's keep talking about Halloween 3, because if not, I'll go on this for
Chucky
hours.
is my favorite too, and I actually have been working on a video kind of answering the question, because I get asked a lot, like, Chucky, that's such a weird one. Why do you think it's better than all of them? And I have a lot of reasons why. So I have a video on that I have been working on that I hope to have out soon. Yes, we'll have to do Leatherface eventually too. And thank you so much, Jason Dyer, for your support. He says Sheriff Barker would have saved the day in Halloween 3. Awesome. Thank you so much, Jason. I really appreciate that. So back to the tour. So they're doing this tour. Buddy and his family get locked in this weird room that they can't get out of. There's no windows or anything. And then we kind of see what these masks are supposed to do. And my favorite scene in this movie.
Yeah.
I love that. Freaking rattlesnakes, all kinds of stuff coming out of it. Like that movie, that's one of those bizarre things of this movie that are just so cool. One, they had the guts to kill a kid. Two, they had the guts to kill a kid like that. And they didn't protect that kid at all. Like, Garn, when she did the scene with Marge Gutman, she's not wearing the prosthetics. She refused to do that. She didn't want to do that. It's a stunt person doing it. That kid, he gets to do the part where he pulls on the mask and stuff. I just think that's so rad. He's in a lot of the interviews. He just jokes a lot about how he's just not a big celebrity now, but I think that guy's awesome. I love him so much.
It's that laugh, man. That laugh you hear when they, you know, the mask is melted. It's like, oh my God, that shit is creepy.
Yeah. This movie pushed the boundaries for sure. I mean, you know, and like it's such a sinister story when you think about it. Like the plan isn't to kill everyone. It's really just to focus on the kids. And then you see it carried out and you're like, damn, that's some balls right there.
Yeah.
For lack of a better term. So yeah,
and he also talks about killing animals and stuff too. And I think it's the more innocent they are, the more powerful his ritual is. I think he's also just, you know, he talks about how in the beginning they had nothing and kids would go around begging for stuff. And I think it's kind of like an affront to him, somebody who's worked his way up from nothing. He's worked hard for it. And kids go around begging for candy for doing what? For wearing a costume? You know, to him, I mean, I get it. To him, that's offensive.
Right.
Yeah.
So he wants to get the kids for it. And I like that this movie, it is gruesome. It is horrific, but it's not gruesome. There's not a lot of blood and guts. It's bugs and stuff. It's really fun kills that catch your attention, that are like interesting and still horrible, which I think is really cool. And again, it plays into that theme of like the advertising marketed towards children, something Chucky touched on a lot. But and then this, you know, also how like television, they say rot your kid's brains. You park your kid in front of the TV and you trust whatever is on the TV to not be harmful to them. But you don't know where it's coming from, who's putting it out, what they're saying, what they're doing. You're allowing essentially a stranger into your living room with your children.
Right.
Yeah.
It's heavy. It's got a much deeper rooted meaning than what you look at face value, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm with you. Absolutely.
100%.
We also see, we talked about this a little earlier, how the kids kind of make the costumes their own, which I think is really fun. But we see that it's not just this city; it's all over the country.
Yeah.
I am a little concerned about how does this work with the time zones, because they're in California, right? So if they do it here, then
be midnight over on the East Coast.
Yeah, it's going to be super late for the kids on the East Coast at 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah, it's going to be midnight. So, yeah, I don't know. But here are the kids all around. Did you see that cute little Casper one? I had a costume just like that.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yep.
But yeah, I like how they kind of make it all their own. And I think there is a lot of creativity put in that. A lot of people, one of the criticisms I hear is there's no creativity with the masks and stuff, but I think it is. It's 100% what happens with marketing. They take the cheapest shit. I remember when Ball in a Cup came back, fidget spinners, the cheapest plastic shit. And they convince kids that you have to have this as a status symbol. And then they all have to have it. And then you got to personalize it and make it your own and do your little thing to it. But it's 100%, like we've been saying this whole movie, it is 100% true to reality.
Yeah. Yeah. Remember, I don't know if you guys remember Pogs. Those were
Pogs. Yes.
Pogs. Is a piece of paper and a big giant 50-cent piece, basically a little thicker, and that was it. But they were huge. I mean,
I spent all my babysitting money on that. You'd go to some strangers like freaking garage and spend all your babysitting money on these little cardboard discs.
You know what? I want a silver shamrock slammer.
That would be
Isn't that what they
amazing.
called them? The
Slammers, yes.
The big, the slammers.
Yep. I want a silver shamrock slammer.
I'll battle you for it, son of a bitch.
All right. All right.
I used to do the little tournaments and stuff in town. I
Deal.
love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're taking these things that are easy to mass produce, that are cheap, and they're, you know, profiting from kids. That's why you're not allowed to do that to a degree anymore. Like, we used to have cereals for every damn thing. Gremlin cereal, Mr. T cereal, Ghostbuster cereal. Sometimes you find it a little bit, but they knew that kids would just want that cereal because they like that character, that show, or the toy inside. Oh my God. How many times did you guys like pour out the whole cereal just to get the toy in it?
That's it.
Just
That
me?
was, all the time. No. Me too. I dump it all into a giant bowl.
Are you
there it
talking
is, and
about
then
that
try it.
disgusting cereal that used to come with my toy? I didn't even know
Exactly.
eat that.
What's all the cereal in the way?
Yeah, what the? I just wanted the toy. What the hell? I didn't know.
And it's the cheapest toy ever. It's so it's usually something that's like you would never buy, but it's in your cereal. You have to have it because it's marketing.
Don't you dare talk about my little Gruff McGruff like that, okay? He is not just a cheap little toy. Okay?
Well, I'm talking about my decoder ring like that. Didn't decode anything.
This is the decoder ring.
It just confused me. What the hell
Drink
is this
more
thing?
tang. What the hell?
I gotta do math? Fuck no.
Look, I hate to be the pooper of the party, but my daughter is upstairs crying, so I'm probably gonna have to go, guys. It's almost
You're fine.
midnight
You're
here.
fine.
Yeah, whoever just said Chicago, Illinois, 60652, that was totally Rough McGruff. Thank you for getting my reference. Gory, I love you. Thank you so much for having me on. Send Danny my love. Brandon, it's always nice to hang out with you, my friend. As always, thank you so much for letting me be a part of this with you guys. Maveryk, we need to get together so I can have you on the show. I would love for you to have My First Horror Movie with me. I think it would be an amazing time. Thank you guys again for letting me be a part of this. Everybody in the chat, I hope you all have an amazing, safe night. And I'm sorry I got to go, but she's upstairs crying.
No worries, no worries. And guys, sub
night,
Sledgehammer Horror. The link is in the chat. Great channel.
Definitely.
Guys, bye,
Later,
Ken.
bro.
Yeah.
See ya.
And you guys too. Like, I know my streams run long, so if you got to bounce, I totally understand. It's all good.
I'm here for.
So the kill that people complain about the most in this movie is the drill kill. So here's that one. So the reason people complain is it's kind of a cutaway one. How do you guys feel about this kill?
I mean, if they would have showed that, like, oh, he threw, Lord, jeez.
Yeah.
It's a moving drill, man.
Yeah.
Oh.
The driller killer. So a big part of the reason I haven't heard any confirmation on it, but there was a problem when they were filming this. The stunt double put the drill right next to her head and her hair got caught in it and she got hurt. And so Tommy Lee Wallace was like, everyone go home. We're done for today. Are you okay? What the hell? You know, because he didn't want anyone to get hurt. And then the next day he's like, I'm doing it myself. Okay. I don't want her hair getting ripped out again. So he did it himself. And I think that might have been why they cut it like that. Maybe they did have more planned, but he didn't want anyone getting hurt. I'm not sure if it was the plan or not to always have it cut like that, but it would have been cool to have a gruesome kill there.
Yeah. I mean, it's an unfortunate missed opportunity, but an understandable one because I didn't know that. So like now that you put that kind of info out there, which it's perfect that we have this platform to do it, it makes sense. And now like it's just, well, I get it. You know, I totally get it. So
yeah, I would be scared to do it too. I mean, that's that.
Oh hell yeah.
I've had clothes caught.
Yeah, I've had clothes caught in like when I used to work construction in one of the big like drills that spin around. It's scary because you're on for a ride and you just better pray to God that somebody helps stop that thing, unplug it, and everything. So yeah, it's sketchy stuff.
And it's his first movie too, so I think he just got really kind of scared and upset because you trust your stunt people and mistakes happen even with people who are professionals. But
100%,
it's scary when you're using real tools and stuff like this. Things can happen.
Yeah.
Now I want to talk about we find out that the plan is and everything. Chalice gets kidnapped and their plan's ridiculous. They tie him to a chair with a camera. They're not watching the damn camera because the first thing he does is he smashes that TV, put a silver shamrock mask on his head, And then he just a feat of awesomeness.
Like, come on, man. Come on, man. You telling me this kid sat in the chair and looked and Gory, he didn't even throw, he just flicked it. And he just flicked it. Like, come on, man.
You know how many goldfish that dude's won at the local fair, bro? Come on. That guy's just
I love that. So Tommy
aquarium.
Lee Wallace, he did it once and he got it the first try. So he's like, okay, it's not a big deal. Like, it's easy to do. They had to do over 40 takes with Tom Atkins to get that shot. Like, it's so unbelievable. But I do love it because, again, we talked a little bit about ties into the rest of the franchise. So when the robots, androids, whatever you want to call them, look at the security camera footage, you see it through the masked eyes, which I think is a tie-in to Halloween 78, where we see Judas kill through the masked eyes.
Yep. Absolutely. Very cool, too. Did he ever acknowledge that was intentional, or was that just kind of like an okay?
They have a lot of little intentional ones here. A few other ones, the opening pumpkin credits. It's kind of their modernized version of the opening pumpkin for the credits. You can see a little bit in the background here. Also, they had 78 Halloween 78 on the TV, which you guys mentioned. Even talking about Samhain, they pronounce it differently, but Loomis does mention that in Halloween 2, that the rituals of Halloween, go back really, really far back, and saying that there is a link to that and Michael Myers, and that's mentioned again with the Thorn trilogy. So they're all supposed to be kind of ingrained in this ritual. And then a couple other things. They mentioned Dr. Castle in the opening scene when Grimbridge gets there. That's a reference to Nick Castle. And he says he's going to give Grimbridge Thorazine, which is what Loomis says he's going to give Michael when he's in the car with Marilyn Chambers.
Right.
So, I mean, there's like a lot of little things. Was there any more that you guys caught that maybe I didn't catch?
There was, I can't recall off the top of my head, but I know that in that first bar scene when he's watching the football game, I can't remember the names, but it's two like production designer assistants or sound people that were mentioned. They were mentioned as players in the game, like, and Tommy so-and-so, passes to, Johnny whoever, and they were actually the names of the people like that were crew members on the movie.
Yeah, I can't. The guy who plays the guy whose killed gets his head ripped off, he does the announcing for that the sports thing. Right. And also the guest book has a lot of crew in it, and it has Marilyn Chambers in it, which brings us back to Psycho, which brings us back to the origin of Loomis, which brings us back to Jamie Lee Curtis's mom. It's all connected, guys.
It's all connected.
Full circle. That is
everybody's a suspect.
Everybody's a suspect. Yes.
Yeah.
I have that Randy energy today, guys. Like a lot of it.
I'm digging it, man. I'm digging it.
Intense, the passion. So my only like real complaints about the ending is I do think it gets wrapped up a little easy considering how intricate this plan is.
Yeah.
So you guys want to walk us through how Chalice takes down Silver Shamrock? You're like, which one? Brandon, you go.
Go for it, Brandon.
He basically, he gets this box of like the Silver Shamrock charms, and he literally just like, when you watch this movie, you're like, okay, so how is he about to get out of this? I really want to know. You got these robots and everything. Right. He literally just goes to the peak of the warehouse, whatever you want to call it, and he just goes like, you know what? He just makes it rain. He's like, badges for everybody. And they're like bullets. They're like hey, it's like it's like so cheesy, but it's the best cheesiness you'll ever get in horror. Like it's it was done like Gory said, the way they wrapped it up. It was like you wrapped it up like this, but the way it was executed. That's the thing with Halloween 3. Everything was executed good. So the cheesiness, it doesn't matter. It didn't matter. So with the ending, I think it was done perfect with that. Just, everything being put to a stop by that simple badge, that Silver Shamrock badge. I think that's super cool. And then
I agree. And then obviously the thing he has to do next, luckily he's only a short run to back to the gas station.
Yeah. And,
Mhm.
Is he needs to get it off the air. So he gets in the car with Ellie, and you think, okay, everything's good now, right? He's gonna go and he needs to get to a phone. So he can call like the whoever is broadcasting
The
TV.
network,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
network,
and they
And
picked up
get them to take it off the air.
right? Yeah.
But plot twist, it kind of reminds me of the end of the 70s one with Donald Sutherland, Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Mhm.
Ellie is a freaking robot.
Ooh,
Like a
ooh.
freaking fembot, guys.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't think
was.
she obviously wasn't. She wasn't the whole time. I think
No.
when they kidnapped her, and he says she's resting. I think when she's resting, that's the bot charging up. I think they probably killed her, like, and stashed her away off screen.
Right.
But what do you guys think?
Well, I think Cochran's good at his making his robots, but I don't think he's good enough to fool Chalice in the bedroom. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That guy's been around the block. He's got his fair share of all different kinds of women. At least they make you believe that. I feel like he would know if something was off. Like he just got that vibe that, like, he'd be like, something's not right. Something's not right going on down here.
Yeah.
And her personality is so different too. She doesn't even talk. So I think that's
she's
kind of when
completely gone.
Yeah.
On silent. So yeah.
Do you guys think she's dead, or she got away and they were just trying to trick Chalice?
Oh.
I just assume that if we don't see him again, that they're dead.
Yeah.
Like, that's where my head goes. But I think she's dead. I really do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, here's Ellie bot when he's fighting her off in a really, the scene goes on forever, but it's so hilarious. Look at the practical effects. That's like that reminds me of The Thing with all the tentacles and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so awesome. It's so awesome.
Yeah, exactly. It reminded. I mean, we get that same shot in Halloween Ends of that scene in The Thing where the head is detaching from the body. It's immediately where my head.
Things, the little tentacles.
Exactly. Immediately where my head goes. Mm-hmm.
Man, Halloween 3, man, that is crazy.
So finally, the car's wrecked.
Yeah.
Dick Warlock's done there. He runs back to the gas station, back to where it all started. Our poor guy's like, not another freaking guy. Like, come on. Can't I just get through Halloween? Can I get through my shift? But no, he calls and he gets it off of 2 of the stations, but the third one.
Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it! Stop it!
Oh, that
is so chilling. So chilling.
That right there is untouchable. When you hear that and you see that on the screen, that is crazy, man.
There are iconic final moments in this franchise. I think Laurie cutting off Michael's head in H2O is one. I think Jamie Lloyd with the knife at the top of the stairs in part 4, and definitely that one. That they ended it so perfectly. You just like puts chills down the back of your spine. Like, it's
right. Well, and Tommy Lee Wallace was, he was like the protege to Carpenter. And when you think about how Halloween 78 ended with that kind of cliffhanger, suspense, mystery type ending, I mean, this is like cut right from the cloth of Carpenter, and it hits. It doesn't feel like a knockoff version. It's in its own way, has that same like dark, kind of twisted, your brain wants to hope for the best, but you just know, like, deep down in your heart that that channel played that commercial. It's so good. And like you said, there's iconic endings in these in this. There's several movies that have those, and this is one of them, without a doubt, 100%.
I think what you want when you leave the theater is you either want it to end on like a fun note, like that was a roller coaster, like one that it's sad ending, but just the music kicks in just right, American Wolf in London. is one where you know, bang, 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 a ding, a ding, ding, a ding, a ding, dong, blue moon. You know, where you leave in a good mood, like, wow, that was fun, even though I just watched something horrible. Or you want something that where like this, or I think of the end of Saw, or some of those movies, you know, even Halloween 78,
Absolutely.
where
Yeah.
you have like this feeling like you're being watched, that creepy feeling that there's like real horror in the world, and it
Right.
sticks with you and you think about it. And so even though this movie like has so many fun cheesy moments that we enjoy, like there is parts of it that are genuinely scary.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean, this ending being the scariest of all, you know. And I know like if I were a kid that actually paid attention to this movie when I saw this, like the first time I saw it, I think I was probably in and out and just wasn't really into it.
Yeah.
I would be terrified to wear a Halloween mask.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
terrified.
It
to
even
put one
kind of
on.
makes me think like in a way it kind of almost sets up like things like The Ring and stuff too, because like
Yeah.
you're gonna watch the freaking giveaway because it's a Halloween thing, and I would have watched it, and I would have probably, I don't know if I would have cared about the silver shamrock mask, but I don't know, I was a kid.
Yeah.
But like, you know, The Ring, you tell me there's a really scary video, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch the horror-thon. I'm gonna watch the giveaway. So you just know, like, little kid you is screwed. You are so dead in this universe.
Yep.
Depending on what channel you watch.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
But that kid,
I
she's
mean,
just flipping through the channels, like she's just like doesn't even pay attention to it. I mean, you would think like
Right.
you know, but like it kind of shows like how like they've had cars going around telling them about the giveaway. They've had this thing ingrained, have a happy Halloween, for like weeks. And so it's like they're programmed, like they are now like robots. Maybe they
Right.
are the new iteration of robots. They're just programmed to turn onto that giveaway at 9 o'clock and meet their end.
Right.
Yeah.
And back then you didn't have, you know, 500 channels to compete with. There was like 4 channels, right? So it was just, I mean, like
Yeah.
you're going to hear about it. You're going to find everybody is getting that same information, those same commercials, the same everything. So, you know, it's just, I remember those TVs, you know, I used to have those TVs where you had to click, or you had the remote that was like this big. It was like a brick, you know, that
Yeah.
was, it like made a huge
And
clicking
they used to
sound
call
every
it
time you went.
channel surfing. I don't know if kids know about that now, but yeah, I would
Yeah.
usually be watching like Monster Vision, or I'd be watching a couple different channels. And as soon as the commercials hit, I'd click over to something else because you just don't have patience for that shit. So yeah, she's not even paying attention to the little girl in the witch costume. She's just switching right over to the next thing.
Boom, next one.
Yeah.
Next one.
Yeah. Like that immediate
Yeah.
gratification, which is ultimately what is gonna get all
Well,
these kids
and
killed.
also knowing that his kids got those masks.
His kids, yeah, in that montage,
Yeah.
his kids are watching it. So which
That
one
is-
are they watching?
That's
Yeah.
terrifying. Your kid, you're dealing with this issue, but your kid got the mask. So now it's like,
And knowing that he's traveled, you know, who knows how far away from home, that there's no way, you know, we all want to think that we will be there in a split second if our kid ever has adversity. And
Yeah.
knowing that he's stuck, he went and chased tail, right? Essentially, he went to go chase some tail. And because of what his, you know, he was thinking with the wrong head, now he cannot be there for his kids. When you think about things like that, it makes you realize how heavy this movie really is, that you don't really touch, they don't touch on it with dialogue, or they don't beat you over the head with it. But when you start dissecting it and you're, you know, like all the story beats that led up to that moment, you're like, damn, dude, like imagine that. Imagine having to live with that.
And you wonder too, like, had he been a better dad? Like, had he actually shown up for one of the many nights in this movie that he was supposed to pick
Just
up
one.
his damn kids, he could have been there to been like, we're turning this shit off, you know,
Right.
but then maybe he wouldn't have known. But I mean, even if he had been involved in their lives enough to where they trusted him, you know,
Yeah.
they're wearing the mask mom got them, and I'm sure she called, but he also doesn't have a good relationship with his ex either. So they probably didn't listen to a word he says because he's constantly blowing them off. You know, he's constantly
Yeah.
pushing them aside. So when he needs them to actually listen, they're not going to listen. He
Yeah.
always has an excuse. He always has a reason. And most of it's lies and bullshit. He's not at a conference this weekend. He's, as you said, chasing tail. They have no reason to listen to him or believe him. He's lost all like integrity as far as they're concerned. And even with, you know, other people, like a lot of times when he says stuff that's weird, they think he's drunk. Like it's one time where his charm is not going to come through.
Yeah.
He needs people
He-
to listen to him.
He's got that.
him.
Yeah, the Dr. Feelgood mentality. They know that he's
Mhm.
just out there just partying, just doing whatever, you know, like he's a
Yeah.
doctor technically, but you know, he's got a PhD in partying too, you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly. And
yeah.
it's finally caught up to him, you know? And
Mhm.
yeah, he doesn't have time to schmooze the people on the thing, like offer them dinners and stuff. He's begging and then he's
Right.
shouting, like, please,
Yeah.
please,
Mhm.
please, please, just, you know, he sounds crazy.
Right.
So yeah, you know,
Yeah.
it's kind of a tragic tale for him, you
Yeah,
know?
his life just
If
goes
you
upside.
don't like him, he definitely gets his comeuppance,
Yeah.
There you go. There you
Yep.
go. Absolutely.
Yeah.
which is really
Absolutely.
tragic because his kids pay the part. So
Right.
obviously, guys, people didn't like this movie. This movie was out at theaters for less than a week. It did
Mhm.
make a lot of money. It had a budget of 2.5 million. It brought in 14.4 million, but that's because people went and saw it and they're like, there's no Michael Myers. The critics hated it. Thankfully, it has been reevaluated, and people, I think people are coming around to it more. Though
Yeah.
I do remember the first time I went to a convention with a friend, and he had a Halloween 3 shirt again before I'd seen it. I'm like, isn't that the one everyone hates? like it was kind of weird, but like I think
Yeah.
now, you know, a lot of people are giving it a chance.
Yeah.
This did come out in 1982. It was going to be another 6 years before we got another Halloween movie. This nearly killed the
Crazy.
franchise. And they made a
Right.
good big point of how the next one was the return of Michael Myers. So
Oh,
you
yeah.
knew, guys, he's back. All right, calm down. Come see the movie, please. We promise he's in it. But there's a lot of great things about this movie. You know, it does. I don't think it's maybe necessary. It's obviously not a good Michael Myers movie because he's not in it. But it's a
Yeah.
great Halloween season movie. I think the worst thing that this movie had to face is that it's part of this franchise. You
Yeah.
know, if
Yeah.
it wasn't, I think it would have been appreciated during its time. And as it is now, I think it's a cult classic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should have just
Yeah.
called it.
I mean, yeah, I think if they would have, instead of going back to Michael, which was like obviously the financially smart decision, I think if they would have stayed the anthology route, I think it would still be fine. I just think that I don't think it would have the cult following if they were doing a different story, like if Halloween 4 was another completely different, unrelated story. I just don't think it would have the cult following, but it doesn't change how I feel about the movie. Right. I just think everything came out by the time this was on my radar. Like there was so many Michael Myers movies and everything. And this was just the black sheep of the bunch. And people are so gullible and so easy to persuade that like I was told this movie sucked before I'd ever seen it. And then as I'm watching it, I just hated it the entire time. And I never gave it a fair shake, you know? So
Yeah. I think a lot of people can relate to that, you know, because you're
Mhm.
kind of warned about it. And um yeah, it's a tough one because, you know, it's part of a franchise, and with a franchise there
Mhm.
are expectations. But again, I think if you take it out of that franchise, it's easy to see that it's very much that Midnight Madness kind of movie. It's a
Yeah.
Twilight Zone type of movie. It's one of those kind of movies,
Yes.
like Outer Limits. It would be perfect in that kind of anthology, and that's exactly what they were trying to do with this. And it wasn't successful. And I think for fans of this franchise, sometimes we get a little like, well, what would it have been like if this movie was a big success and people got
Yeah.
it?
Mhm.
And I kind of think I like it the way it is because if it was successful, we probably would have never seen Michael Myers again. We would have lost out on some
Right.
great films.
Yeah.
No Jamie Lloyd, no Daniel
There you
Harris.
go. Yep.
Yeah.
So you know, I guess I'm glad it came out the way it did. And I also, as a horror fan, I think we kind of bond together, you know, all of us, because we're used to, for like most of our lives, being told that what you like is weird. And
Yeah.
Right.
it's like how, you know, people who don't get it, people who think you're bizarre or maybe even scary because you like things that are scary, though personally, I think horror fans tend to be more well adjusted. But yeah, it makes you hold on to that thing you love even tighter because you're like, no, I still love it. And then you just find other people who love it too. And Halloween 3 is like a niche within a niche. Like if you love Halloween 3 and you find other people who get it and stuff, like, you know, that's why I think it has such ardent defenders, you know, because they've been told
Mhm.
for so many years it's crap. And I think it's nice that
Mhm.
we're finally kind of getting more people coming around and understanding why so many people have defended it. You know, for some people it's their favorite in the franchise. Like a lot of people.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep. It's in my top 3. So sometimes it's 2, sometimes it's 3 for me.
Yeah.
I think it's in my 5 or 6. I Trouble with me, I like all of them. So it's like never a knock against anyone. I love this movie. I think it's great. I like a lot of the other ones too, as you guys who've been watching these streams probably know.
Yeah, I always swap out my rankings. It's so hard. I can't even just.
This is neck and neck with 4 for me. Like I think they're both great.
Yeah. 4 is awesome.
I love Halloween.
Cal doesn't care for it. He said, I'd understand if it was an anthology, which is my second favorite genre in horror. It just was never a good movie for me, Michael, or not. Also, Sandy said she's never seen Season of the Witch. I've heard good things about this one. That makes me happy. Might be the year I watch it. So I want to ask both of you guys, and this is something we've been doing with all of these, because like I said, they're all someone's favorite movie. What would you say to like Sandy, like to get her hyped about seeing it, or maybe to Cal to give it another chance? Why is this movie, important? Why does it have value?
For me, it's because it shows that you can put out a different movie with the title Halloween, and it's still, it's great without Michael Myers. It's still great. It has it has some of the best Halloween feel in it, in my opinion. I don't know what it is. I'll be lying if I could tell you guys, but if I can just say, hey, I know what it is. It's something in this movie that makes you feel like, oh, it's spooky season here. In this town, it's spooky season for sure. You can feel the wind blowing, and everything, the fall. You can just feel it. And I just think it's different, and the character development in this, in my opinion, is crazy. You get invested in these characters immediately, and it's like it's one of those movies where you like, okay, I love this movie so much. I love Tom Atkins so much, but why? It's like it leaves like this weird feeling where you love it, but you don't know why in certain parts of it. Like, why do I love this so much? It's that weird movie that you just pick off the shelf when you want to have fun. Like, you know what? It's a fun movie. So if you want to have fun and see these crazy kills and just this crazy twist of a story and stuff just goes to shit, watch this movie and have fun.
Yeah, my sales pitch, I guess, would be don't worry about the title of the movie. Okay.
Yeah.
Just don't if it's Halloween, it's October, right? You want to watch a good Halloween movie, here it is. This embodies the tricks and the treats and the lore of how we got to celebrate Halloween the way we celebrate it now. Well, this is a little bit more ancient version of celebration. So this is the embodiment of all the spooky things that we love to celebrate during this entire month. So don't go in expecting Michael Myers. Just don't even pay attention to the title of the movie. Forget that part.
Yeah.
Watch this movie and it will, I believe you will like it. That's kind of where I would go.
I agree with you 100%. I do think this is honestly like Halloween 78. It didn't really even need to be set on Halloween. It's awesome that it is. It adds to the film definitely, but this one really oozes Halloween out of its pores. Like this Trick or Treat, Night of the Demons. There's a handful of movies that I have to watch every year on Halloween, and this is one of them. It's completely encompasses the season. Not only does it encompass the season, it encompasses the franchise, which I compare to a bag of candy. There's so many different kinds, and not every movie is your chocolate or whatever it is your favorite candy is, but there's a variety. And some of it's really fun. I love Trick or Treat, motherfucker. And some of it's really dark and cerebral, like, the Rob Zombie ones. And some of it is scary and suspenseful. Some of it's gory. We get so much. And instead of knocking down one movie and raising another up for not being the same, we can appreciate it as like a cornucopia of Halloween amazingness. And this movie has all of that. It is scary. It is fun. It has, like that roller coaster to it, but it also leaves you thinking. It also keeps you up at night. This movie has all of that. Like Maveryk and Brandon said, forget that it's a Michael Myers movie, because it's not. Forget that it's part of his franchise. Go into this as a spooky season movie. I recommend this to people who love the Goosebumps episode, The Haunted Mask.
Yeah.
Very much in line with that. I recommend this to people who like pod people movies like Invasion of the Body Snatchers. And people who love serial TV shows, spooky serial TV shows like Twilight Zone, Outer Limits. Don't come into this going, well, I'm a Halloween fan, I need to see this. You can watch whatever the hell you want. But if you like Outer Limits, Twilight Zone, those kind of things, this is your jam, whether you like Michael Myers or not.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah, I agree with the Goosebumps. That is definitely like the Haunted Mask, you gotta think, Carly Beth and the mask issues.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree with Tori.
Or like Tales from the Crypt. I used to watch that all the time. Yeah, same thing, falls right in line with those styles of creepy stories, but it's perfect and it's centralized around
like
Halloween.
This could have been a story in one of the Goosebumps episodes.
100%.
Yeah.
It's so rare that a movie gets so many people, because the movies I think are scary when they get you where you live, but this gets you if you're a parent. This gets you if you're a daughter or a child. This gets you if you work at a gas station. This if you have been displaced by a big company, like so many people this gets it. For kids, kids get killed in this. Like there are so many ways in where this movie can resonate with you if you're willing to give it a chance.
Right. Absolutely.
I agree.
All right. This was super fun. You guys are awesome. We had Ken Sledge on earlier. Definitely check out him and Ashley's channel. They have lots of great series like what was your first horror movie? I'm on one of them. Lots of great streams and such. He did do a review on Halloween 3 that's really good. And definitely check out my buddies here, Maveryk Media or Connell Math. He's awesome. And would you tell him what you're working on your channel? By the way, his link is in the description below. Go subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe. So I should by Friday or Saturday. I've been so busy. I should have my Halloween Ends review out. I tend to do a little bit deeper dives. I haven't put out a whole bunch of content. It's mostly work because of work. But I do deeper dives and I try to find little morsels of things that maybe isn't, I guess a little deeper underneath the surface. So if you're into that kind of stuff, I know. And if you're into that kind of stuff, like I can promise you one thing, if you watch any of my prior videos, there's going to be something that you'll learn something from it. And maybe it's just that I'm an idiot, but you'll learn something. So yeah, just if you're into that kind of stuff, check out my channel, check out my videos. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, and one thing, Fairpoint Station, I don't know if you're in there, but he had left a comment asking what this bowl was behind me. It's nothing. It's just a decorative piece that's got like stuff that makes the room not smell bad. So it just kind of goes with the vibe.
Yeah, you guys can always, I don't know if you've been on this channel a lot, but you're always welcome. Just with me, I grew up with brothers on an Air Force base. So you just jump right in. Like I don't get,
yeah. So if he's still here, that's what it is. It's nothing special. All my cool stuff is like back behind me or up above me on the walls.
Your house is really cool. You got like some like awesome Gothic vibes in there.
Yeah, thank you.
Dig it very much so. And also, I mean, if you guys like this channel, you guys know I love my fun facts. I love deep diving. I love getting into the nitty gritty of things, finding that trivia, finding the behind the scenes. Because I think it helps us to appreciate movies more when we understand that nobody sets out to make a bad movie. And a lot of these movies that people dismiss as being like B movies, people worked really, really hard on. And I think we understand how much work goes into something, you appreciate it more. And I think all movies deserve analysis and exploration. And if you guys like this channel, you're going to like Maveryk because he gets that. He does the same thing on his show. Seriously, man is criminally undersubbed. The man got less, like, he should have many thousands of subscribers. He did not have many thousands of subscribers. I don't have many thousands of subscribers to send your way, but I got a couple thousand. So all of you, I send you off after the stream. Go subscribe to Matt. Also want to check out, you guys check out my good friend Brandon. I mean, Brandon just, like, this man bleeds Halloween, guys. Look behind him. Like, and not just Halloween. He loves Chucky. He loves all of it. Like, I think a lot of us, in this community, we grew up with these, and these characters are like family to us. And
Oh,
you
yeah.
definitely feel like that when you watch Brandon's shows, you know, like they are part of his household with his family.
Yeah.
And he's so knowledgeable, guys. He's got so much passion for these films. Definitely, it's like if you love horror, he is a kindred spirit. You will definitely be like, you get it. You get it. Brandon, tell them what you're working on in your channel.
So I'm about to dive back into doing more life size things. I took a break. As you see, I do life size and stuff. More filming location. Me coming to the West Coast, knockout.
Nice.
Do, filming location 78, Lost Boys. Halloween ends. I'm gonna be doing that. So yeah, I got a lot of stuff coming, filming locations and life size things. I got rehauls, coming. I'm gonna be busy. So if you guys enjoy just like spooky things and all things collectibles, speculation theories, filming locations, I'm your guy. But like I said, man, it's always fun coming and talking horror with friends, Gory, Maveryk. It's so cool. We all come together to speak about this crazy world. I feel like we're in our own little bubble, and people
right.
And it's nice because like it's a bubble of it's like being a bubble boy. It's a bubble of safety because you're with other friends who get it. Also, I love your Shorty life size there. I love Shorty so much.
Yeah.
Like, people have like their 5 like people you can run away with. Like Shorty's on there. I love him. I went to Halloween Horror Nights and Shorty's the last part of the Killer Clowns maze.
Yeah.
And I couldn't even help it. I burst up. I love you. Give me little heart hands. There's something there, guys. There's something there. I love him. But yeah, you've got so many amazing things in your background. And I love when you visit the filming locations because I just think it's cool, like you know that like something that you love was created there.
Right.
Yeah, I'm actually going to Horror Nights next week.
It was so fun. So fun. I did the RIP tour. I'd never gone before when all the mazes. Do not miss the La Llorona maze. If the lines are long and you gotta make sure you prioritize ones, the La Llorona one, like not only is it like the jumps and stuff, but what the work they put into, like it's genuinely scary, like with the animatronics and stuff, like it's good.
So I'm actually going to Orlando. So our houses are different from yours. I wish I could go to West Coast.
You guys don't get Killer Clowns there.
Yeah, we don't get Killer Clowns, so we got like Black Phone, Freaky, 78.
Black Phone. I think we have all the same ones except for the Killer Clowns.
Yeah, I actually been to it because I go to Horror Nights every year. It was like 2 years ago I got to go through the Killer. It smells like popcorn.
Yes, I love it so much.
Yeah.
I need to cover that movie on my channel. I love it so much. It makes me so
such a good movie. Such a good movie.
So good. Oh, we gotta talk. We got so many guys. We have many more conversations ahead of us. I do hope you guys. It was a true pleasure and honor to have you guys here. I love both of you. You guys are so knowledgeable. You brought so much to the conversation. I hope we have many, many more conversations about some of our favorite movies because you guys are class acts all the way. Guys, remember those links are in the descriptions. Please check out their channels. You will not be disappointed. I'm a big fan, and I know that you will be too. Guys, you want to sign off? Oh, wait, actually, I forgot to tell you guys what I'm working on. Sorry. Some people in the chat were asking me about fight nights. I really do want to finish that. Unfortunately, my Sundays right now, I've been helping my husband, Danny. We are filming The Orchard Man, which is his first short film. And I'm in it, which is cool. And I just filmed The Foul Flesh, where it's a zombie nun. And then Danny's from The Orchard Man. I'm a ghost. Nice. So that's really fun. So my Sundays for the rest of this month are kind of occupied with I'm doing the makeup for that, and I'm in it. So really busy with that. But in November, I have the dates at the end in the chat. In November, we're definitely going to finish up Fight Night, and we're going to finish up the rest of these Halloweens. And I'm working on Satan's Little Helper. There is a new Synapse Blu-ray coming out, and it's uncut. So I'm pausing my work on it because I want to see it uncut now. I mean, I might as well, right? But that's coming out, and then that Chucky video. So lots of good stuff, lots of more streams. My next thing I'm doing is next week, come here on Wednesday. We're going to talk about Halloween 2 because it just keeps going, guys. Week 11, Halloween 2. You guys like Halloween
2? Yes, I do.
Halloween 2.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. So I'm super excited to talk about Halloween 2 next week, and then 78 on Halloween night. And I have a surprise. So hopefully you guys will tune in for that one. If you just pop in for a little bit, I do have a surprise. So it's going to be really fun.
All right.
Oh, that's gonna be crazy.
Nice.
See
Yeah,
how mysterious I am? I'm really bad at keeping secrets, but here I am keeping a secret. So
good for you.
Yeah.
I know I can grow.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, guys, you want to sign off?
Yeah, I just thank you so much for having me, Gory and Brandon. It was awesome hanging out with you and Ken. Join Gory. You didn't promote your Patreon. Join.
Oh
Gory
yeah, I
B's
have a Patreon, the B Movie Kevin.
Yeah,
And
there you
Maveryk, you're
go.
part of that,
I
which
am
is
a part
awesome.
of
Thank
it.
you.
And I just wanted to
Link in the
send my
description.
best wishes to your mom. Hope everything works out.
Thank you so
and,
much.
You know, so but thank you again for having me. It was a blast. I had a great time.
Definitely. It was fun, man. Gory's like the sister I have in the horror community. It's a lot of guys. There's not too many, females with channels. So I love Gory. It was the moment she told him, like, hell yeah, I'm gonna get on, and we got this little thing with Halloween 3 going. And
We do.
definitely,
Train.
congrats, Gory, on the monetization. That's huge.
Yes.
I think you deserve it. And hopefully your mom, gets better and everything. And
Yeah.
it was fun. Same Maveryk. It was so fun, man. You're awesome. You have
thank you.
The brain you have is crazy. I've watched some videos. Ken, love you, Ken. It was fun. It was fun. You guys have your hands full with Gory, man. Awesome channel.
Yeah.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you everyone in the Gory hole. And until we meet again, blessed be.
Peace, guys.